is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
He's back!
Good morning and welcome to 757 Sports Talk on Cove Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and interact with us wherever you may be tuning in. He is the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield, and he is indeed the coach, Ed Young. And he's got a new polo as the head basketball coach announced this week of the Smithfield Packers. Look at that, folks. Welcome, sir. You said 17 months ago that you would be back on the sidelines. You guaranteed it. You proclaimed it. You declared it. And here you are at age 26, right? You are, we can't say your age. You are back
36.
as the 36. I was off by 10 years. Sorry about that. The basketball coach of the Smithfield Packers. How does it feel to wear that blue and be repping and rocking all the Packer fans out there, including the one and only Keith, who I'm sure is waiting with bated breath to hug you and embrace you like none other?
Well, it's I almost can't describe it. I'm hyped. I'm overwhelmed. I'm extremely grateful, blessed to the administrative staff at Smithfield who decided to give the old coach a shot, believe in me. Miss Patricia Cuffey, the principal, Aston Williams, assistant principal, and the one and only Pat Doolin, the athletic director, involved in the interview. They grilled me like a Smithfield ham, and I came out smelling okay. They're going to give me the opportunity. I honestly feel, and this is truth, the same way I do now when I got the okay from Suffolk High School way back when to be the head coach at Suffolk High School from Pennsylvania. I honestly feel that way. Even though that was years ago, I feel that same way. And humbled, and I say overwhelming, Matt, because up to this morning, it's now 203. Harry Rest, I owe you a call. 203 text messages and calls, not including the stuff I think you mentioned to me the other day on Facebook. I haven't even gone through all that yet. Unbelievable. I never thought this many people would care. A lot of it was former players, former assistants, a lot of high school head coaches, college coaches. I had a couple calls from Florida, 2 from Georgia, 1 from North Carolina. It's just overwhelming. I didn't think it was a big deal for everybody else. Big deal for me. Very much a big deal for me. I'm excited to get back on it, and I really, really, truly believe that Smithfield is a good fit for me, and I'm going to make it them a good fit for me and me a good fit for them. I've got a lot of ideas on my mind. Pat Doolin's a guy respected for years as the head coach, basketball coach at Churchland. I think he's done a fantastic job as athletic director. Miss Cuffey, who I didn't know. And I was impressed with her in the interview because I kind of interviewed her too after what happened before, which is in the past. But she's a former track athlete, Clemson University. So she gets how athletics fits in the molds of high school students and whatever. So I'm excited, man, Matt. And I got to give you credit because you got on my butt like crazy. You said you screwed it up last summer, getting offered by one school who was not allowed to do the offer, turned down another school that you had put out a contract for me. And I turned that down.
I put some feelers out there, and we connected dots, and I thought the dots were connected. And by the way, folks, we won't divulge which school it is, nor will Ed, but I took a nap. And ladies and gents, whatever you do, don't take a nap on a summer afternoon on a Monday in July. think it was July. It might have been August. I forget when it was. I woke up and I had, like you did, a bunch of, not quite as many texts and missed calls, but I had some. And it was like, is this a bad dream? So, but for Packers fans, they're hoping this is not a dream. This is reality. Ed Young is their new basketball coach.
Yeah, it's somebody, my brother was saying on his text message, he said, I can see the Smithfield. I want to say this to the Smithfield people. It was from the scene, I think, with Jack Nicholson, the Joker, when he peeked through a curtain and said, wait till they get a load of me. And I said, that might be the Smithfield people.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's Howard Davis. Howard, thank you, my man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, we'll sprinkle up. I know you've already gotten a bunch of them, and I don't want to do the entire show. I just want to congratulations because we have business to take care of on this particular episode of 757 Sports Talk. But you deserve your flowers, even though you're not a flower type of guy.
Nah, I'd rather send me money.
Send you money than flowers. So you can go buy some flowers if you have money, right?
Well, I need fundraising. I got some ideas.
How about the guy, DeCarlos, who was a heck of a player for the Norfolk Greyhounds?
DeCarlos, you got any more high school eligibility? Got any more high school eligibility? Because I'm starting over. I think we might have 1 or 2 returnees at the most. They had a lot of seniors last year. Yeah. So also people out there, let me throw this out, Matt, if you allow me. I am in the process of hiring a completely new staff. Less one. Buck Moore is coming with me.
Who's an avid viewer of this show, by the way. So shout out to Buck. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's in Jamaica though right now. So he ain't
so he's not watching Jamaica. Yeah, he's doing something else we can't talk about. Okay.
But I am in the process of hiring, and I'm being very serious about this one. If anybody out there is interested in putting in time with these kids, serious about being an assistant coach, hit me up.
Look at that. Look at that. DeCarlo is going to come around and watch the Packers in action. How about that?
Good. Come on, Carlos. Now be patient because we might throw you the ball in the first couple games. We're going to probably be young, and the way I want to play, it's going to be a little exciting, but it's going to be a little bit harder to teach. But come on out and watch it. One of my big goals is to fill that, I guess they call it the Packer Dome, fill that place every time. I want to use the upstairs seating. That's a goal of mine, is that they have to get those seats ready upstairs for all our home games in a place that nobody wants to come to and play. That's what my goal is. I don't know how many games we're winning. People ask me, what do you think you're going to do? Haven't even met the team yet. Don't even know player one. There's so many other things I've got to take care of. But I'm excited, and I hope we're going to play an exciting style of ball that will cause some confusion for our opponents, and then people will love watching us play, which pretty much I had that idea everywhere I've been. So, but I am serious about hiring assistants. If anybody get a hold of me, we'll set up something. We'll talk. And but again, it's going to take time. Now you're going to have to put some time. And the big thing is you got to pass a background check. Okay, yes. So let's put that out there too. Danny, hopefully I'll have some players for you.
Yeah, Danny's up there coaching college ball in our state, a little further west than us. But hey, I do want to, before we take a break here, I do want to say that since he is over there, Mr. Keith, who, going back to our years on radio and now being on television and podcast, he's the most loyal viewer, listener, caller we ever had, I think, and still is to this day. There's no need for me to interview you after. We'll just have Keith as a regular correspondent to just grill you and ask you, give you questions and statements to why you decided to run this particular defense, this particular offense, and he can just be the guy. And I can sit back and just, watch Keith take care of all that. But go ahead real quick.
A lot of people have asked me, Lynn Burke asked me about, has Keith contacted you yet? Are you hiring Keith? Whatever. I haven't heard from Keith. I don't know if he knows. I don't know if he's out of the country. We know sometimes he's out of his mind, but I don't know if he's out of the country, whatever. I
hope you didn't floor him to where he's in shock mode that you took this job. You think he's being pranked.
You know what? It could be too. I don't know, but hopefully we'll find Keith. I would like to get his opinion on me taking wearing the blue and the Vegas gold. Vegas gold. That's what we got up here. Yeah. And see what Keith thinks.
We will come back and address what the future of this particular show and podcast is, because people have been asking questions. So we'll let Ed give you his feedback and mine. And we have a lot to do on this particular program, including the college football guru, Phil Steele, joining us. You don't want to miss it. All coming your way here on 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back with you and take your interaction and comments and questions too, right here on Cova Sports TV.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Kova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit kovapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Why was the cell phone scared to go to the dentist? Because he didn't want to have his Bluetooth removed.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we are back, Bluetooth or not, but we have a guy wearing a blue shirt with Vegas gold lettering. He is the new coach of the Smithfield Packers, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. I'm not the coach of anybody, even though some of these kids nowadays will say to me, and even in interviews, as you've seen lately here, Ed, hey, coach. Thanks, coach. No, I'm not a coach. Not a coach. Unless you count the 2 games I did coach the Great Neck girls basketball team to victory. So I am undefeated as a coach, if that counts. I mean,
well, yeah, I agree with that too. But I also tell you that you've won a few of the games I've lost that you have told me by perspective of watching film or being there live. And I mean, you say it in a nice way. You only made 4 bonehead plays, and this is what I would have done different if I was coaching. So in essence, you are undefeated, but you are not a regular coach, but you have coached many games and you have never lost.
Hey, you're not the only new basketball coach, by the way. Kickitan has hired Kashif Stretch Johnson as its new basketball coach.
Oh, congrats to Stretch out there.
Yeah,
Stretch been around local basketball. That's a nice one. Oh, guess who else already congratulated me? And you know what he hit me up for?
The
Phoebus.
The former Kickitan coach who's at Phoebus and also watches this show and probably will be weighing in at some point. You owe him a steak dinner, too.
Yeah,
don't try to weasel out of it. Don't weasel out. He'll corner you.
Yeah, he got me because he said, hey, now you're closer. And he said there's some good steak restaurants at Smithfield. That's all he said. So that tells me.
They have ham out there, too, by the way.
He's hungry. Yeah, Willie's hungry. So I told him, I'm going to take care of you.
How about Will Garlick saying he will not come to your games because, hey, you would always lose when he showed up. So he'll stay away.
We have to try to break that. I don't want Will to feel bad. Will's a good dude.
Yes.
And you know what? He's another guy. I'm going to say it. I think I owe him a couple meals.
You owe him something, yeah.
From the back, too. But Will's
money,
a good dude.
Food, clothes. Take care of
Will.
him.
What you got to do, Will, is come to the game, but don't tell me. That sneak in the door, whatever. We'll
sneak in the door. I love how you're advising people to break the rules to sneak in, and you haven't even coached a single game yet. That's just
really and my athletic director might be listening. Pat Dooley.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's good. He's advising the he's not general public. Will is a media member. He doesn't have to sneak in. He can use a pass to get in. But I'm to sneak in.
I haven't finished negotiating my contract. I think I'm going to ask Pat if I can have maybe half a dozen freebies per game. See if I can do
half a dozen. Yeah. You're going to be the guy like someone just recently told me, I won't say which school administrator about, they had an event recently and they gave a list that was like my Christmas list back in the day, which I never got all those presents, which is why I am so, frustrated like I am these days. I didn't get those. I'm still upset. I never got that castle I wanted as a 6-year-old in the backyard. I wanted this little, castle. Like I have my own castle. Didn't get it. Now I got to go to Norm Hassel's castle at Kelham to go to a castle. Otherwise, I don't get to go.
Check with Norm. I think he has a deal with Hasbro toys on small casts. She might be able to take care of you.
Okay. I did mention before we went to break, matter of fact, I was at a football scrimmage on Friday, and one of the first people says to me, "Hey, now that your partner is coaching again, who's going to take over the podcast?" So from my perspective, I will say we used to do this on radio when you were coaching for a dozen plus years. I have no changes in store. I didn't know if you did or if your contract, which you probably put the pen to paper and dotted I's and crossed T's. So would you like to share your perspective? I think things are going to stay on as status quo unless you have a particular practice or game that interferes with this show, which from time to time, I have Old Dominion women's basketball games I broadcast, so we have to adjust and make some small tweaks. So,
and believe it or not, I was asked the same question. Coach, who do you think Matt's going to get to replace you? And I go, wait a minute, he can't fire me. His contract doesn't allow him firing me. I can get rid of him like that, but right now I'm not. But no, I'm not going nowhere. I've made it work before. It didn't hurt my coaching, my program. My program does come first, but we have gone through this, and I'm not going nowhere. I think we give out a good product. I went to a class reunion last week, first time in years I've seen those people, and a lot of them watched last week's show.
Yeah, fill that in because people were wondering. They asked me this question too, where you were, because you didn't want to disclose or divulge your location. But we did have a lot of views. In fact, it's one of our more viewed shows, and it's a lot of your is it 50-year reunion? So I don't know how you got a 50-year reunion. Yeah, how you got a 50th if you just turned 36. So that I'm looking by.
That's what I'm saying. When I walked in there, I know those people. I ain't never seen them, but a lot of them watched it. They hit me up and said. They like the interaction. They like the show. Now, remember, these aren't anybody from around here. And a couple of them are good sports people, but they said they liked the interaction. The one person thought we were on ESPN. I said, no, we're not that level. But I said, now this show here, it's going to keep going, whether it continues on here, COVID Sports TV, which we hope it does. But we're keeping this thing rolling. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not being replaced. At some points, I'm not replaceable.
Look who said good morning, Keith. Keith is on. Now we just got to get Keith a phone. Now you and Doolin and maybe the Smithfield Packer alums can raise a collection plate where we can get him on, not just a flip phone. He can have an actual phone that he can interact with us and join the show like he used to do with call-ins. Just send him the little link and he can just be on the screen with us.
Well, when he called us before, he'd call us from a darn phone booth. There's no more phone booths. Keith, have you heard the news? Did you see the shirt I'm wearing?
I'm sure he's aware. He's aware. You're the new basketball coach. And if he hasn't seen it, full article, free to view, by the way. We made it free. I could have brought in subscriber dollars.
And you would have got a lot. If they would have paid for it now.
I don't know if they would have. They might have said, oh, he's back. Not clicking it. So I don't know. I have no idea. But anywho, Keith, you can go read it if you haven't. Other people can as well. There should be an article in the Smithfield Times as well. And there is one in the Suffolk News Herald as well for folks that haven't checked it out. But so yeah, that is the story on that. But your reunion though, pretty cool to have that, huh? That was neat.
You know what? That blew my mind. And I was serious when I walked in. 7-hour drive. But when I walked in, I didn't know anybody until we started getting name tags. And some reason they knew. A lot of them knew me. They caught me real quick when I walked through the door, and I'm like, and I don't know you. I actually said it because I didn't know them. Age, father time is a little different.
Yeah.
But we had a blast. I think there was 20 of us. 3 have passed, and I think there was 3 that could not make it. But they had texted us during the event. And we had a blast. We sat down at the big table, stories. Everybody was blaming me for some of the shenanigans that happened back in the day. And I'm like, hold on. Yeah, I'm not ganging up on me. I was good until you all warped my mind. But it was an absolute great event. I'm glad I went there. And it was a good time. Good time. And then the next day we celebrated the anniversary of my mom's birthday. Of course, she had passed in 2018. So it was a great weekend, but that travel is 7 hours both ways. That's something. Keith, I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll run into each other up there up in Smithfield. You got to be our number one fan again, because I know you've been supporting a lot of other schools like Southampton, Sussex Central, Hopewell,
You gotta take care of my man. You gotta get him some swag, get him some like these kids with NIL. You gotta get him some cash.
I gotta get some
cash and some food.
Doolin gave me this shirt because he said it was a little bit too big for him. He wore it a few times, so I got his shirt. I haven't got no new stuff yet, so let's calm down, Keith. I'll try to get you some stuff if I can. I got a fundraise for to get it, so I got to get all the people in Smithfield community. Come on, please out and support the new coach. I want to do some big and great things with these kids. So, yeah, we need the money. But I'm looking forward to seeing Keith. I can't believe it. I'm a Packer. I'm a Packer. Oh, there is some sad news.
Yes.
Football coach Tracy Parker, when he was told that I have to share an office with him.
Oh, gosh.
He was immediately
poor guy did that at Nansemond River. You're going to put him through that again? He deserves a raise if that's the case.
When he left Nansemond River, and on the interview, they asked him what was, one of the best things about River. He said, I won't have to share an office anymore with Ed Young. I couldn't understand
that.
But now he has to, and I talked to him, and he was crying still. But Tracy, you will see the top of my desk this time every day. So.
But and speaking of Tracy and the football team, shameless plug, you can read Will Garlick's in-depth preview on the Smithfield Packers football team and a bunch of previews. We have already on VirginiaPreps.com their preview. Danny Lewis has a bunch from Richmond. Jim McGrath has a bunch from Northern Virginia. And I'm doing the top 10 countdown. So there is tons and tons of content, and it's coming daily, fast and furious. And speaking of football content, we will have more football content coming your way after this quick timeout to hear a word from some of the sponsors that help make this program possible. Ed, your old school, Nansemond River. I don't think we've played it yet. Alonzo Ricks Jr., his clip from the Lansdowne team camp. We've got Dontrell Leonard still from the Lansdowne team camp. He of Churchland. We mentioned Smithfield being such a great community and the support being awesome. It's off the charts at Louisa, too. We caught up with the coach at Louisa, Will Patrick, Dysir Carter, who's committed to Rutgers. And we've got more, some of the heavyweights, the powers in the state, like the Maury Commodores with Coach Dyrri McCain. Shout out to his mom, by the way, who we saw last week watches the show. Phoebus head football coach, Jeremy Blunt, on the drive for 5 and a 5th consecutive state championship. Manchester's Jason Harrell. We've got all kinds of clips. And when we come back, you'll hear the first one of those. And I'll let you get a chance to pick out who we're going to hear first after the break. So tell us, since you got this new position, I'm going to let you be the power broker for our first clip of the day when we come back from break.
Well, give me my choice again. You got Phoebus.
We've got a bunch. We've got Blunt from Phoebus. We got McCain from Maury. We've got Jason Harrell of Manchester. We got Don Holter of the Salem Spartans out in Salem, Virginia. And again, people can check us out if they don't know this already. Our podcast is not just streaming on Cova Sports TV. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter. It's on X. It's on Instagram. We always encourage your comments and want your feedback. LinkedIn as well, VirginiaPreps.com. And it's also airing on YourView and Cox TV on Mondays and Tuesdays. You see the channels in your market. But the Salem Spartans with Don Holter. You got Louisa with Dysir Carter and Will Patrick. You got Jeremy Blunt of Phoebus, McCain, Alonzo Ricks Jr. and Nansemond River, Churchland's Dontrell Leonard. Who do you want to hear? You got the hands up.
I'm going to stop you, and I'm going to say, since we're on broadcast right now for your view on TV, and we're out in the Roanoke area, let's do the Salem coach from out there.
So we'll do Don Holter when we come back after this quick word from some of those that make it possible. You're watching 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
I'm here with Salem Spartans head football coach Don Holter as his team has wrapped up their preseason scrimmage with the Maury Commodores, two of the best here in Virginia. Coach, as you get ready for the campaign at Fort Union Military Academy, what did you see today from your group?
I saw some grit. I saw some toughness. I saw some inconsistency. There were a lot of things. I saw some very good things and things that we have an opportunity to build on. We got a young offensive line, and they're only going to grow seasoned and more experienced from this and get better. Defensively, we saw some decent linebacker play. We missed a lot of fits there, particularly early, but there's nothing that can't be fixed. I love this team, and they're young. We're reloading 7 on defense and 8 on offense, and these guys are. We need to be more consistent in our preparation, in our physicality, and those things are going to come day by day.
And there were some positive moments against the Maury team that's won 30 straight games. I know you told your group before you took the field about focus, determination, execution, and those mules, which you affectionately call them, the offensive linemen. I thought they did a good job of getting off their blocks, especially guys like Jake James, who's coming into his own, right?
He is. He's doing a good job. He was 2 ways today. Yeah. We had some offensive linemen banged up, and that's next man up. It is what it is. So I thought overall for a first scrimmage, there's some really good things that happened today, and there were some things that we were inconsistent on. But as I told them, those are things that we can fix. Sure. Focus, discipline allows you to execute. And we do that with controlled violence, and being great like anything.
I'm here with Salem Spartans head football coach Don Holter as his team has wrapped up their preseason scrimmage with the Maury Commodores, two of the best here in Virginia. Coach, as you get ready for the campaign at Fort Union Military Academy, what did you see today from your group?
I saw some grit. I saw some toughness. I saw some inconsistency. There were a lot of things. I saw some very good things and things that we have an opportunity to build on. We got a young offensive line, and they're only going to grow seasoned and more experienced from this and get better. Defensively, we saw some decent linebacker play. We missed a lot of fits there, particularly early, but there's nothing that can't be fixed. I love this team, and they're young. We're reloading 7 on defense and 8 on offense, and these guys are. We need to be more consistent in our preparation, in our physicality, and those things are going to come day by day.
And there were some positive moments against the Maury team that's won 30 straight games. I know you told your group before you took the field about focus, determination, execution, and those mules, which you affectionately call them, the offensive linemen. I thought they did a good job of getting off their blocks, especially guys like Jake James, who's coming into his own, right?
He is. He's doing a good job. He was 2 ways today. Yeah. We had some offensive linemen banged up, and that's next man up. It is what it is. So I thought overall for a first scrimmage, there's some really good things that happened today, and there were some things that we were inconsistent on. But as I told them, those are things that we can fix. Sure. Focus, discipline allows you to execute, and we do that with controlled violence, and being great like anything is a process. Yeah. So I'm not going to get too high or too low. We're going to take a look at the film and reinforce the things that we're doing right and correct the things that we're not, and just keep repping.
We'll let you go. Appreciate the time. I know you guys flying around. The effort is there, even though there might be some mistakes. One of the guys that flew around a lot was Anthony Steed. He's one of the returnees you're counting on this year, correct?
He is, but you know why God gave you arms, don't you? Yeah. So you can tackle properly, and those things we didn't do well today. And obviously as coaches, that's our responsibility, So obviously first thing we're going to do on Monday is is work that tackling and open field and angles and all those type things and figure out what your arms are for.
Sure. And finally, new quarterback for you. I thought he showed some glimpses, Tanner Overstreet, as far as scooting out in the pocket. What do you see in him? And then just to follow up on that, what's kind of the ceiling for this group in your eyes? It's a tradition at Salem, and I know you guys want to meet those tradition expectations, right?
Absolutely. We have our own standard, and that's excellence. Tanner's played a lot of snaps. He was our starting JV quarterback for 2 years, and got a lot of snaps last year as a junior and really as a sophomore on a state championship team or a state runner-up team, excuse me. But he's one that I mentioned it earlier. You don't get too high, you don't get too low. I love his temperament and his demeanor. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low, handles the situation, and play the next snap. You got no control over what happened in that moment. In that 48 minutes, you got to execute the play that you're involved in right now, and as soon as that's over, you focus on the next one. And he does a real good job with that. And I'll tell you, there's very few juniors that are elected by their peers and coaches as a captain on our team. Mm-hmm. And yesterday was picture day, and we take a vote, and he was voted as a captain by his peers and his coaches. And I think that speaks volumes about his ability to lead and the faith and things that those young men have in him.
Perfect. We'll go check out Coach Holter and the Spartans on Friday nights. Thank you so much. All the time. All the best.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
So you heard from Don Holter of the Salem Spartans, and we do apologize about the little technical snafu in the middle of that clip, but you were able to get his thoughts on their scrimmage with Maury on Friday. It is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, you name it. Ed, your thoughts on a program that has got a long history of success, lost in a region championship last year to Sharando in Region 4D, but they're a team that certainly could be in that conversation like they've often been come December. In Class 4, you got some heavyweights like your Phoebus, defending four-time champ, Varina, team that's expected to do a lot this year, Dinwiddie, and then Salem's another one of those teams that's always in the mix.
First of all, I had a double take because I thought you were interviewing Goldberg, the wrestler. He looks like Goldberg, the wrestler.
You think he looks like Goldberg? There's a guy that's an assistant coach for John White at Bayside who could really pass for Goldberg's twin. We'll have to get a picture of him for my lookalike, but go ahead.
But with the Salem team, I like where he's coming from. The thing that impressed me as a coach that I like was he said, we got to stop worrying about things that happened in the past. We'll watch film. We'll correct it. Once again, in football, coaches in film more than Siskel and Ebert ever did. We'll fix it. And that was the thing I had to learn. One of the hardest things I had to learn in early part of my career was it's gone. You discuss what happened with your coaches, and then you present to the players, and then you go to work to fix it. You can't keep harping on it.
Right.
That was the point that got me in when he said, you know why God gave you arms? And I was like, eat, pick up thing. He said to tackle. And I'm thinking, okay, I got to hit somebody today. I got to tackle somebody today so I can use the arms and hands for the right thing. I like where he's coming from. He seems down to earth, but a little bit of a no-nonsense guy in terms of getting this stuff done. And like you said, his teams are traditionally in the hunt. They just need that breakout year. And, they're like over in this area, they're going to get some powerhouses. The deeper you go, you're not playing the last place teams in your conference when you get that deep. So I like that guy. That's the first time I've seen him, and that's the guy I'd like to meet.
Well, I thought your favorite line would be the controlled violence because it's something.
It slipped my mind because when I heard violence, I thought, okay, whoa, be careful. It's kids football. And then I saw pictures in my head, controlled violence. That's me with my hands around Hatfield's neck. Controlled, not putting him out. He's a good dude most of the time. Most of the time, though, when I see fool in the pool, that's where I'm at. Controlled violence. That is good. That's what I'd want to use on Hatfield.
You're a funny guy. You're going to be at the Funny Bone tonight? Is that where you're going to be? Yeah.
It's a possibility. It's funny you mentioned
I mentioned that.
I went out and relaxed a little bit last night to a place in Hampton, a new place that I didn't hear about, where they had a nice, great band for some music, and I had some good food, some good crab dip. Nice place to go. And guess this is crazy. The only way I got in, I had a dress shirt, but it didn't have a collar. And the guy at the door says, "Hey man, I'm not gonna let you in. I mean, you look good." He said, "But you have to have a collared shirt." I said, "Man, it's not a t-shirt." He said, "I know." And then the other lady, there was a lady there with them, said, "Wait a minute, aren't you Coach Young? Didn't you used to coach at Nazareth River?" And I turned around, I said, "Yes." "Oh, okay. You're good." I said, "What?" "Yeah, you go in." I said, "Were you in my class?" "No, I was in one of the other teachers' classes." She said, "But you're a good dude. You're in." It's like, man, it's good to know people. So I got in.
Well, it's never a laughing matter when you have to play the Maury Commodores, Ed, but you will get the entertainment value because Dyrri McCain has another very exciting bunch. You got anything to say about that, or are you just going to sit there and
I want to hear what he's got to say. This guy wins 10, 11 games a year. I want to hear what he say. You talk to him.
Wins 15 games a year about. You're
15
short of
games a year. And they got a great shot at winning it all again this year. So we got to hear what he said. And I know you caught up with him lately, so let's bring it right here on Cova Sports TV. Coach McCain from Maury and this guy from Cova Sports TV.
All right, here with Maury head football coach Dyrri McCain as the Commodores have wrapped up a preseason scrimmage with the Salem Spartans at Fork Union Military Academy. Coach, coming off back-to-back state titles, 30-game winning streak, but it's a brand new year. What did you see from your group here against another quality team here around Virginia?
Saw a lot of guys that we were trying to see things from through the offseason. Obviously, you're dealing with a bunch of newer guys in position, so you're just trying to see if they can grasp what we're doing. I was impressed with some of the guys that did step into new roles and fill roles, but mainly the guys that we're trying to build a depth and see that guys can help us in the long term. I mean, anybody that plays in November and December knows that you need depth. So, I don't care about scores and scrimmages and stuff like that. It doesn't move me. It was more about seeing who we can use, who's doing what. And I was impressed with a lot. But obviously, I'm talking live. I need to see the film to give a better assessment.
Absolutely. And I know one of the guys that we spoke about, not on camera, but in the offseason here that's got a lot of upside, has been playing for you and not as highlight of a role, but he will this year, is Tayshawn Branch, running back. Third play from scrimmage, he pops it. I think it was 61, 71 yards to the house. And he has some of those Peyton Jones type of qualities to him, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. That's what we pretty much compare him to. I think that that he can be a better Peyton Jones, in my opinion. Peyton's my guy, so it's no disrespect at all. He knows he's my guy, but I think Tay Branch has that opportunity to be able to do that. Just speaks to the program, man. I mean, he's a kid specifically. We're talking about him that we had a back that decided to go elsewhere 2 years ago or a year ago or whatever last year. But we knew we had Tay Branch in the bag. So, we weren't missing anything with losing whoever decided to be elsewhere. We knew we had Tay Branch, and he showed himself last year, and obviously he'll step into a bigger role this year.
And I think that gets caught up by so many people nowadays is who's gone, be it through graduation or transfers. I mean, certainly you've gotten guys in, but you've also lost some guys here lately, and people are wondering about, the quarterback position. I think you have a couple of good quality guys there in Damo Everett and Matt Williams. Granted, you don't know if they'll have the production that Torrey Newkirk does, but you've got a pretty good history of quarterbacks. As this offense comes along, let's see, you got big playability, just a matter of putting drives together and being consistent.
Yeah, I think that, we're not looking for any drop off. Like, it's not we believe in Damo. He's going to be our guy. Matt knows that he's going to get his opportunities also. We got a couple of other guys in the mix too at that position, but Damo's our guy. We're right behind him. We trust him. And, I just feel like that he's going to do big things. I think it's going to be a great situation relationship between myself, him, and also our quarterback coach who also I coached, he played for me, is Kevin Mills. So just sticking to what we've always done, and just quarterbacks doing their job. And Damo's always been a playmaker. He's always been a guy. He's always played good competition, so he knows what those moments are like. It's not going to be anything new for him. And then he has a good cast around him, man. A good group of guys around him, good backfield, good wideouts, depth on the O-line. So He's got a good group of guys to work with.
Yeah, it's kind of like next man up. As you lose a Peyton Jones to Duke in the ACC, or LeBron Bond to Indiana, wide receiver. I know he didn't go today, but Elijah Moss-Williams going to JMU. You got Javon Wiggins, William Mary commit, NC Central commit, and Damon McDaniel Jr. So there's a good core of receivers there. Flipping over to the defense, you're not as imposing in terms of the size as you've had in recent years with guys like Fred Johnson and Kendall Daniels and Ari Watt for guys that are playing in Power 4 schools. But my goodness, your linebacker, Ike Simmons, he's one of the best around, isn't he?
No question. Everything about Ike is who he is why he's going to play P4 football at Pitt. Ike is everything that, and I wish I could speak cliche, man, and that's not me as a guy, but Ike is everything, man. I mean, when you talk about
formations on defense over there on offense.
Listen, man, just he knows both sides of the ball, man. He's a student of the game. He's so serious. He takes notes in every meeting. Leadership. He's just on track to be one of the best leaders that we've probably ever coached. And just everywhere. He loves playing special teams. Well-mannered guy, good guy in the classroom, tough, physical, good mentally. Like there's not a knock about Ike at all, man. And he's our leader. He was our ace captain this year. But it's expected. I mean, he's a 4-year starter. He's been starting ever since he was a freshman. So he's been around the block, played a lot of games. Expecting a lot from him. And he's obviously the leader of our defense, him along with Hunter Collins.
And lastly, another challenging schedule for you guys right off the bat. You get Cardinal Gibbons out of North Carolina. Then you have Verina, who's a state power like you guys are. I think you play Bishop McNamara game 3. And you've had that gauntlet the last couple of years with the team from Maryland and Wise. And you played Highland Springs and Dinwiddie. There's so much talk and noise, especially in the 7x7 when you have champions like yourself and Oscar Smith and Phoebus. How do you block that out and keep the guys focused on the sole goal of expectations and doing what you're doing and not worried about the back-to-back, the 30-game win streak, all those things that other people are saying?
Well, because I think it's easier for some than others, and I think here we talk about a goal, and the goal is never outside noise. Like it's never. I said it before. I think it was an interview with you. Matter of fact, I think it was. The goal isn't. We don't set a goal based on what everybody else wants or what everybody else wants to see and how we want to do it. And oh man, they don't have a Keandre Lambert-Smith, and we're trying to make a Keandre Lambert-Smith, or oh, they don't have a Notori Newkirk. Like we're not trying to make Damo Notori, and I'm not trying to make Eli Moss Keandre Lambert-Smith or LeBron Bond. Eli Moss is Eli Moss. Javon Wiggins. So, I just think we just do a good job of really focusing on us. We talk about our own goals. And that's me as a coach, just stand on those goals, man. I'm glad I don't pay attention to a lot of that stuff. I'm glad that I'm not involved in the mix of any of that stuff. And I think our guys do a good job of it. The players, they do a good job of, not feeding into that stuff. There's a date that we always have to play a game. So, if that team wants to be on that type of energy, there's going to come a date at that time. So we just got to go and execute that day and shut that up. And, that's just really how we move. That's always how we move. And as far as like the size and imposing on defense, I think even our 19 team that won a championship, I don't think that we were super imposing size-wise. I think we played good team speed football and good brand of team football. So I think just in past, I think last year we definitely was imposing, but I don't think that because we're not, that we won't be like as good. I think that we've had good without being imposing, if that makes sense.
Sure. On the quest to get into that Saturday in December, Coach McCain and the Commodores, thank you so much. All the best.
No problem. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
So that was Dyrri, McCain, Maury on a 30-game winning streak, Ed, as they took on Salem in a preseason scrimmage on Friday at Fork Union Military Academy. It was good to see the guy that once coached Dyrri McCain, Delton Cotton, who wants to come on the show, by the way. We're going to get Delton on. He's coaching the high school team at Fork Union, by the way. So we're going to get Delton on at some point, who you remember was always gracious to give us time when he was coaching at Maury, when he coached Dyrri McCain and Cam Chancellor, and also coached at Norview. Had a little bit of a health scare during the COVID year, but now coaching football and making an impact at Fork Union. But unofficially, the score was, if you kept score, Maury 21 or 28-0. But, I don't pay attention to scores of these things. But your thoughts on what he had to say there, as the Commodores will try to do something that's pretty hard to do, and that's three-peat in a tough Class 5 division.
Well, Coach almost sounds like a broken record every year now because they're so good. They execute so well. They take on all comers. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I really give him is they don't duck nothing. They're not protecting their championship. They got Cardinal Gibbons at Cardinal Gibbons this year. That's down in North Carolina, not the Baltimore Cardinal Gibbons up there in Maryland area. But you got Verina, Bishop McNamara from Maryland coming. I mean, those 3 games right there. Come on, those are regional state games right off the bat.
Well, Cardinal Gibbons got a quarterback committed to Wake Forest in game 1, and then Verona has a slew of players that we've highlighted. And
most coaches of all sports, they want to open up with teams that are kind of their level, get a feel, play some people. They're playing people you would see in the state tournament right off the bat. That says something about his program. And, he made another good comment that I was always, think too. Maury's not big, imposing type team, but they execute well. They play together well. And that's not easy to accomplish when you have so many talented players.
Yeah.
That, you've got to, that's the coach's task, is to keep them on board. When you've got guys on the bench that could pretty start somewhere else, you really got to keep that mix going and stay focused. As he says, who's our next opponent? Yeah. Everybody looks at Maury when they get ready to play him. Hey, we're going to beat these jokers. We can get these guys. They'll talk some trash, whatever. Like he said, we try to listen to that noise. If that happens to be our opponent that day, and we know they made some noise, then we get a little extra juice in us to go play them and shut them up, as he put it. So, I admire him on that situation, because that's not as easy to, taking on those tough teams as, not many people do that. And I wouldn't fault him for playing a lighter schedule, because you especially begin the year in football, and you mentioned, Matt, about when they scrimmage, you don't put a lot of stock in scores or whatever. I look at scrimmages in high school sports, where it's different than exhibition games than maybe the pros, because pros won't play a lot of their starters, exhibition games. High school does, because you only get, I know in basketball you only get 2. I think football, probably the same thing. You might get 2. So you really do got to see your stars, but you do got to play some guys that you're hoping to move up in more important positions. So sometimes I think the scores, you don't want to put a lot of stock in it. No, it's not. It ain't going on the record. Hey, we got to win. Oh, God, we got a loss. But it's an idea of, this is like our first game of the year, but we have another chance to fix a lot of things. And then we actually start the games where it counts. So I think in scrimmages, which we call exhibition in high school, way different than the ones in the pros. Now, what else did you see there? I got a feel. First of all, your cameraman. I don't know if we should announce it. Okay, he's got one job. Keep both you and coach, the person being interviewed, in the frame so we know what's going on.
I knew you were going there. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Son, I'm looking down the road. Was he looking for some cheerleader in the background or something?
Maybe.
I said I wanted to yell, you got one job, man. Stay focused. I got a feeling who it was. I'll fuss him out later.
Okay. Well, you've just fussed him out. You don't have to fuss him out later. You just did it.
I'm going to mention his name later when I see him. I don't want to mention him on here because he's a good dude.
So you're giving him a fair warning. You're giving him a fair warning to step up the camera work. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, step up the camera work, man. I mean, most of the time he does a good job. Now, I do say this in some of the interviews, though. I do have seen him move around a little bit. I don't know if he's falling asleep standing up, what's ever going on, but we're going to have to get him some Red Bull or whatever. Get him an energy drink, Gatorade, something.
Hey, Derek wants a basketball showcase at Smithfield. Hey, you know what?
Calm down, Derek.
Maybe that could happen.
We'll see in the future. Well, let me get a chance to see if I can get this program going and we can get on a good winning track. And then
they don't want to wait.
That would be something we could do.
Derek's got things to do. What do you mean future? Future is now. The future is now.
What we got to do, though, is we got to go to one of the wrestling shows with Derek. You remember, Derek's a big wrestling fan.
Yes, and you missed the last one because you had a bit of a little health skew, which you're okay from, thank goodness. But
yeah, that was not good.
By the way, if Keith is still watching, your athletic director, by the way, I can now say this now, has informed me to have Keith come by the school. He's got a shirt for him. That's nice.
Oh, okay. Okay. There you go, Keith.
So, Keith, look
at
that.
Maybe he'll give you a new one, and I'll get one of his old ones that he's going to look for in the closet for this weekend. So I'll have something to wear. Some interviews coming up there at Smithfield.
Bill Wolcott chiming in. We love Bill. Oh, I like that question. Can the Guardians overtake the Yankees?
Hold on, Bill. Don't start nothing, Bill. Don't start nothing.
I like that, Bill. The Cleveland guy. I love that. You know what, Bill? They have to got to get a little more consistency from some certain bats in the lineup. They got shut down on Friday night by the Braves, who held them to, I think, just 2 hits, both by Stephen Kwan. And I got me a Stephen Kwan jersey I'll wear if they overtake the overtake the Yankees. I love that. But Jose Ramirez, I'm going to tell you this right now, and Bill knows this, being a Cleveland fan, as does Rod Johnson, who's a diehard Cleveland baseball fan, Kings Fork football assistant, and former VA Preps boss. Listen, Jose Ramirez is as complete a player as there is in the sport. I know people are going to say Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, but I worry that they could get a little worn out in September. The schedule's eased up now, and unfortunately, Edsy Yanks might have enough juice to hold them off. It might have
haven't talked much about my Yankees because I'll tell you what, I'm not the least bit surprised if we do not make playoffs at all. I said we would be a definite playoff team, probably number 1, not going to win the division. Now we're holding on for dear life to get the last playoff spot. It's been a bad year period for the Yankees.
Be a great story if Cleveland beat them out. I tell you what, you know what? The Mets are cratering, which Frank the Tank's going to break everything in his house at this point. All these, they got Ryan Helsley from St. Louis, and he is terrible right now. But the Mets are cratering, the Yankees are cratering, and I tell you what, I just put my arms and say, hey, it happens. And I'm trying to get my D-backs to make a little run here, but I don't think they have enough pitching, and the schedule's going to get harder for them.
But the Dodgers,
to answer your question, Bill, can they? Yes. Am I rooting for them to do so? Absolutely. Do I think they will? Unfortunately, the Yankees just have more resources and more guys, and in 162, they should probably outlast them. But I tell you what, I'll be fist bumping and high fiving if they do, because it would be justice. And you know what? I hope the Dodgers crater too. All these teams want to go buy players. It's getting old. Tired of it.
Hey, how about Detroit?
Morning.
How about Detroit with that 14 game lead? Now it's like 4.
Well, no, it's down to I think 6.5 or 7.5. They won an extra inning thriller on Thursday night. Spencer Torkelson and Zach McKinstry made 2 tremendous fielding plays as the Tigers rallied from 3 down to beat the Minnesota Twins. Rocco Baldelli got ejected. You would have loved that, the way he just tossed his hat.
I saw it. I saw the ejection.
Great. And the Twins played for the sack. Bunison is a sack fly there. And the Twins got rid of a bunch of guys at the deadline. But, Detroit's lead is shrinking, but I think they will end up winning that division, and we'll see what happens there. Woody sends good fortunes to you. And Woody, stick around. We have more high school football sound. If you missed it earlier, you can scroll back and hear what Dyrri McCain of Maury had to say, Don Holter of Salem, what he had to say. And we've got Jeremy Blunt before we bid adieu. And we're supposed to have it about 11:40 a.m. Eastern after Phil Steele coming up. Karlynn Ferebee, he is the new head football coach of the Norview Pilots. We might go a little bit after 12 noon today. We might go a little extended today since it's a special introduction of Ed Young to the Packer Dome in Smithfield, to the land out there. Or I should say the field, not the land. Churchland's the land. The field, I should say.
I might have to start.
The slaughterhouse. Had they introduced you to the slaughterhouse yet? Oh, that's a good one.
I might have to start. Hey, when I drove through there, where the meat packing place is,
the
slaughterhouse, smell of bacon in the air, I almost said I might have to start eating some bacon. I don't really think I can eat it.
You better get on the fitness. Hey, I'm gonna call my guy Obi-Wan up, Coach Gary Obenauer.
I gotta be careful, man. I do gotta be careful because the stress level is gonna go up even more now, and those late night snacks. Gotta be careful.
Yeah, you better get on my plan. That's what you better do.
You're right.
Be a lean, mean fighting machine. Yeah.
And plus, Woody, when you said good fortune, does that mean you're ready to make a donation to the?
Look at you! You just come on. You are just begging for every.
It was made clear to me by my new bosses. Coach, you better raise some money because that's the only way you're getting it.
And by the way, I mentioned it with Tracy Parker. You brought him up office mate earlier. It's ironic that we have Coach Ferebee scheduled to join us after they have filmed this morning and some things. It's ironic that happens, and they scrimmaged Smithfield last night, Norview. So I didn't plan that. I honest to God did not plan that. And it just happens.
That's different. And if you really want to start connecting dots long term, not that it means none, the last time I was in blue, I was coaching Norview.
There you go. Ooh. Coming up next, though, we've got a special guest, Ed. He is a guru. He is the best.
The best.
You got the book,
the
right? The Bible? Here it is. Here's the Bible. Phil Steele. He's going to be with us, and you don't want to miss it. We're going to ask him everything about UVA, Virginia Tech, Old Dominion, James Madison, Liberty, and I'm sure Ed's going to throw in a bunch of Notre Dame questions. Go put on your hockey jersey, all right? Take the Smithfield thing, put it back on when we come back. Go put your hockey jersey on, all right?
I might do that. I don't want to get my people mad, but I got to put some good Notre Dame juju.
I know. You want to have the fight song too. You want the fight song.
Yeah, I'm going to go put that on. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it on for Phil.
I know. Unbelievable. There it is. Sports TV. The one and only Phil Steele will join us right here when we come back on Cova Sports TV and 757 Sports Talk.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young, every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome back to 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and tune in wherever you are. Interact with us. We have a special guest with us, Ed. And I know when Jim Nantz utters a tradition unlike any other, he's referring to the Masters. Well, that phrase is certainly applicable for our next guest. But no, we're not talking golf, everyone. It's football time, ladies and gents. And who better to have on than the college football guru himself? So delighted to be joined by the one and only Phil Steele. Phil, you know our summer would not be complete without our annual get-together. How are you, my friend?
You know, I am doing great, and that 757 area code reminds me of all the time I was doing Tony Mercurio's show right there in Virginia Beach from back in the early 80s. So it's been a long time that I'm always in this spot. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, it's our pleasure. Yeah, Tony was near and dear to our heart as he got Ed his start in radio and mine as well. And now we've morphed into podcasting and television and all that good stuff. And this is copy number 31, folks, of the Phil Steele College Football Preview. It is the Bible, folks. If you've never seen one, you've been missing out all your life. What's different about this one, Phil, and how has it changed from the first to the 10th, 20th, 30, and now in this one?
Yeah, let's compare it to the first one. The first one came out, it was black and white on newsprint. I covered 88 teams back then, and it had about 180, 190 pages to it. And the type was super small because I tried to cram as much information as I could. Now, we've made the type a little bit bigger in recent years. We're up to 2 full pages on every team, full color. This year's magazine is 360 pages. It's like a book. It's the biggest it's ever been. And naturally, All 136 teams are covered, 2 full pages on each team. And we give you the same amount of coverage on Old Dominion or Liberty that we give you on Alabama or Ohio State, 2 full pages on each team with all the information located in the same spot on every page.
And before we dive into all the teams here, Phil, I got my copy, as I'm showing on the screen, as does Ed. But, for years and years and years, you were awesome giving us copies to give out to our listeners and viewers. I told Ed, I said, look, you use this thing so much, it's worth your $20, $30, if it's $100 to go support Phil and what he does. Ed, you finally went out and got one and stopped begging for freebies. Good job, Coach.
Well, if it's free, it's me, Phil. And Clarence is my favorite name brand. So that's why I'm always looking for the freebies. But Matt is 100% right. By far, the Bible, not only of college football, it is the best insight on any sport given by any magazine, any newspaper, any outlet in the world. And I'm saying that not because you're on. I'd say it if we had anybody from the organization on, or if you didn't come on at all. And we're very delighted that we got you because we know extremely how busy you are. And not only are you busy, but the work and effort. My favorite page in your book is the page where there's 12 TV screens or 8 or something. And that's your living room. So you have what all of us guys want to have in our man cave, multiple TV screens to watch whatever we want to watch. You make it happen, but it's not just luxury for you. It's your job, and the effort you put in is absolutely amazing, and that's why you deserve the accolades you get.
I really appreciate that, Coach. And, I spent 7 months writing this magazine each and every year, and I don't follow any other sport. You ask me baseball, I'd be clueless. Basketball, clueless. I don't even watch the NFL. I just watch college football. On Sundays, I'm watching replays of the college football games after watching the 12 TVs all day long. This way I get to watch maybe one with the volume on as opposed to just having 2. But it's the only sport I concentrate on 365 days of the year, no other sports at all.
That's something else. Well, Phil, I noticed you have both James Madison University and Liberty in your preseason top 40. It's unheard of for it to be 2 teams from a state, here ours in Virginia, and not in a Power 5, or I guess more appropriately deemed a Power 4 conference these days, both in different conferences with Liberty and Conference USA and JMU in the Sun Belt. They square off on September 20th in Lynchburg. In fact, it actually marks the first encounter between the 2 in 11 years on the gridiron. Share for us your perspective, please, on both the Dukes of JMU and the Flames of Liberty.
Let's start with James Madison. Last year, Bob Chesney was in his first year as the head coach and basically lost a ton of players to Indiana. And those were good players. As we saw, Indiana made it all the way to the playoff. Sort of shows you the talent that James Madison can produce as these guys stepped up to the Big Ten and delivered. Now, the big question mark this year is quarterback, but I think they're in good shape no matter who gets it. Barnett is, of course, coming off injury, questionable for the season. Matthew Sluka is a guy that played at Holy Cross for Chesney and will do well no matter which one is the starting quarterback. They're in great shape. George Pettaway was one of the top running backs out of high school, and I think he's going to have a big year at running back. Offensive line, very solid. And last year's squad was depleted, only had 8 starters back. This year they're more experienced, second year for Coach Chesney. And as you mentioned, that September 20th game at Liberty should be big. They are my favorites to win the Sun Belt East. I think their biggest opponents this year in the Sun Belt East are both Georgia Southern and Old Dominion, and they get both those teams at home, which is huge. Take a look at Liberty. I thought Liberty last year had a pretty good team. Now, there were some question marks. I guess my biggest question mark watching the squad last year was that Caden Salter didn't look as good as he did the previous year. I think he was trying to protect himself a little bit, maybe not run as much. He probably figured he was going to transfer this year. So I think Liberty, despite losing Salter, is in good shape at quarterback. I like both Vasco and Berger. They've got guys that have experience. This is a very strong team. You look at what Chadwell's bringing in. I like the fact he gets them to a bowl game yearly, and that was a depleted Liberty squad that got blown out by Buffalo. You look at their 3 regular season losses last year. They lost to Sam Houston by 2. The Jacksonville State, they lost by 10, but there was a late score there. It was actually closer than that. And they lost to Kennesaw State in a massive upset by 3. I think Liberty takes care of business this year. They could be favored in all 12 games. The big one, September 20th against James Madison. So I'm pretty excited about both those teams this year. And I think they're both legitimate contenders to grab a playoff spot if everything breaks their way.
Yeah, we got a chance to watch Vasco up close and personal when he played at Oscar Smith High School in Chesapeake. Phil, let's go to Old Dominion. We are in ODU country here in the 757. A lot of returnees and experience back for Ricky Ronnie and the Monarchs, headed up by sophomore Colton Joseph at quarterback and one of the more accomplished tacklers in the country and linebacker Jason Henderson on the defense. Give us your overview of an ODU team that was involved in 9 games last season, Phil, that were decided by 8 points or less.
Well, let me ask you a quick question on ODU, guys. Either one of you can answer. Jason Henderson, how's he looking in the fall camp so far?
All indications are he's going to be healthy and ready to roll. And I know that's been a big sticking point for them in the past, as you know, Phil, last year. So having him, it's a major difference for them, isn't it?
Oh, man. I love watching this kid play. And, you know, last year you thought he was going to come back. I think they made the right move, letting him play the first game and say, yeah, he's not 100%. Let's save him for another year. Having him back is great, not only for Old Dominion, but for college football overall. Now, I think this is clearly Ricky Ronnie's best team that he's put on the field. Twice he's surprised, getting teams that I didn't expect to get to a bowl game, to a bowl. I'm talking about 2021, 2023. I thought they were better than their 5-7 record last year. As you pointed out, Matthew, they've lost a lot of close games last season. I love having Colton Joseph back at running back. You look at this offensive line, and it's probably the closest unit on the team. I think they're going to have a top-notch O-line. Devin Roche at the running back spot looks good. And defensively, with Henderson back, pair him with Mario Thompson, Easterly at the king position. They've got one of the best linebacking cores out there. Now, I mentioned they do have to play James Madison on the road this year. They also have to play Georgia Southern on the road this year. Those are their top 2 contenders in the East. So for them to win the East, they're going to have to pull an upset. But I think this is going to be clearly Ricky Ronnie's best team he's put on the field with the best record. He has not, after 2 bowl losses, he had both seasons, they were 6-7. I think this year they get to 7, potentially 8, maybe even after the bowl game, 9 wins. I think they're going to have a big year this year.
There you go. They can do one of Ed's favorite things. Go bowling. It is 757 Sports Talk, and we're joined by the college football guru, Phil Steele. Check out philsteele.com for so much more. Get his magazine. We'll tell you more about that as we move it along here on Cova Sports TV. Ed?
Bill, obviously, I want to dive into the 2 biggies from the state, the teams that people really know about or probably maybe huge fan bases. I know JMU has a huge fan base, and, of course, Old Dominion. Attendance at their games is crazy. But Virginia Tech in Virginia. Let's start with Virginia Tech first. I know you have them on your most improved list. I think it's 12. You feel it's coach's best team since he's been there, and you would expect them to go bowling. And then Virginia, I think you kind of, if I remember looking at the pages, the same thing. You have them as one of your most improved teams and feel that they are also bowl worthy, just depending on a few hiccups that they may have to try to overcome late in the season. But let's go ahead and start with Virginia Tech and then go into Virginia.
Yeah, let's start with Virginia Tech. Now, last year, expectations were high for Virginia Tech because they were the number 2 most experienced team in the country coming in. This year, they're not quite as experienced as last year, but last year was disappointing. So I think when you take a look at the roster, start with Kyron Drones at the quarterback spot. And William Pop Watson got some experience last year, especially in the bowl game. But if Drones is back and 100%, I think he's a very dynamic QB. You look at him up front, Thomas Remack is an NFL prospect that they have at the right tackle position. And I'm looking forward to watching Donovan Green this year. Donovan Green, I go back to one of my conversations with Coach Clausen. Clausen had a heck of receivers at Wake Forest. He thought Green would be one of his best. He's been banged up the last couple of years. If Green lives up to that billing, look out. Plus, they've got Aiden Green. They've got solid tight end with Gosnell. And defensively, they bring in a new defensive coordinator in Sam Seifkes, coming over from the NFL. But he's got talent to work with. And keep your eyes on Ben Bell. He's a transfer from Texas State, got a bunch of sacks the last couple of years. I think he could have a big impact on the pass rush. So I think this year, Virginia Tech, unlike last year, where everybody was talking about them because they were so experienced. I think they're flying under the radar this year. Should get off to a good start on the season. And I'm looking for a clearly much improved season from Virginia Tech. And I think they'll, as opposed to last year where they were below expectations, they'll be above expectations this year.
And as we go into UVA, Tony Ellett looking for his first winning season. Some hopes for them. You know, looking at their schedule for coming up. I think they open up with Coastal, and then looking at that right now, North Carolina State, William & Mary. So probably getting off to a hot start would be important for them. How about the Wahoos?
Yeah, and you know the underlying theme in my mind when I look at Virginia was the first 2 years Tony Ellett didn't really have an offensive line. He had like 0 returning starters both years. Finally had a better offensive line last year, and they flirted with a bowl game. After winning just 3 games in each of the first 2, they got better. And now this year, he's got a solid offensive line. That's a good piece to work with right there. They've got 10, 12 guys that can compete, and I think they'll be much improved on the offensive line. They got 2 quarterbacks battling for the job, but I think Chandler Morris wins it. Morris is a guy that did extremely well with North Texas and gives them that veteran QB spot. Cam Ross, Trell Harris, and Edgerine are all solid receivers. Defensively, it's probably the best defense that Coach Elliott's put on the field. And when you look at the schedule, I've got them favored in 6 games. So right there, they should be able to get to a bowl for sure. And I think they're a dangerous team. I think they were a team much like, you know, you finished 5-7 last year, but they had a couple of close losses, games that they, like the Louisville game. I thought they outplayed Louisville in that game. So I think Virginia gets to a bowl game this year, has an improved year. And to me, it's clearly Elliott's best team in his 4 years.
So good news for all the Commonwealth fans, whether you root for Liberty, JMU, Old Dominion, UVA, or Virginia Tech. One more here before the break here, Phil. We'll come back with more with you after our commercial time out. I want to get your take on the ACC as a whole. Clemson you have as a threat to win a national championship. They've won a couple of those under Dabo Swinney. Is the separation between Clemson and the rest of the ACC as grand as any of the power conferences? And how do you think Clemson now stacks up to the Georgias, the Penn States, the Ohio States compared to recent years here? Have they closed that gap?
Yeah, I would agree with you, Matt. I do think that Clemson is the largest favorite I have of the Power 4 conferences. And when I look at this squad, they're a homegrown team. And I did a blog on philsteele.com, which talks about homegrown teams this year, you know, ones that are built by the freshmen that you sign. They're now seniors. Go over a conversation I had with Coastal Carolina's head coach, Tim Beck. I'm like, wow, coach, last year was your second year. You had 68 new players. Now things are much more stable for you this year, right? It's year 3. He's like, Phil, I got 69 new players this year. So it's like, wow. Teams like that, going through all that transition, I think they're going to struggle. Whereas a team like Clemson, which is mostly homegrown, they've added some key transfers like Will Held at defensive end, Jeremiah Alexander at linebacker, and Tristan Smith at wide receiver. But go back to 2 years ago with Clemson. They had a banged-up receiving core. Their top 3 receivers were all out, and Cade Klubnik had just 19 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Well, last year, those injured players are back. They added some pieces, and all of a sudden, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Klubnik's got my number 2 offensive line, number 2 set of receivers. I like the running back core. And defensively, they got too many NFL players to give up 374 yards per game like they did last year. I think their new defense coordinator, Tom Allen, gets that corrected. I have Clemson favored in all 12 games, and I think they're a legitimate national title contender. Their closest teams, the teams that in my mind are battling to face Clemson in the ACC title game, are SMU, Miami of Florida, and Georgia Tech. I think all 3 of those teams have a shot. Georgia Tech's been really good the last 2 years, playing a hell of a tough schedule. This year, their schedule lightens up. That puts them in the contender role along with Miami and SMU. But in my mind, Clemson is the top team in the ACC.
Yeah, I'm with you, Phil. Georgia Tech gave Georgia quite a scare to end last year, regular season-wise, and SMU had a nice comeback against Clemson, just fell short in the ACC championship game. We've got more with the college football guru himself, Phil Steele. After a quick timeout, we'll get his take on surprises, sleepers, the Heisman Trophy race, and, of course, Ed will ask about his Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. It's all coming your way in just a moment right here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we're back here with segment 2 with the one and only Phil Steele, the college football guru himself. Go get his college football magazine. It's available on Barnes & Noble here across the Hampton Roads area and all over the state of Virginia. If you're watching with us on Cox TV in your view, Fredericksburg, Northern Virginia, Roanoke markets as well with the coach Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. Phil so kind to give us more of his time here. And Ed, I know you're rocking the Notre Dame hockey jersey, so you have to ask about Marcus Freeman and your Fighting Irish with the new quarterback and all that's ahead for them in 2025.
Well, I wore Notre Dame because Phil's on. I need the luck of the Irish. Phil will give it to me straight. Phil, I'm nervous, though. New quarterback. I know you kind of like him. Schedule opening up at Miami of Florida with all them crazies down there. That makes me nervous. Then we get a break, and here comes Texas A&M, not Texas San Antonio, Texas A&M. Purdue should be a 60-0 win. But then, Arkansas, Boise State, schedule gets a little crazy here and there.
First ever time with Boise, huh? How about that?
Yeah, they got Boise State. Thank God it's at home. USC, thank God it's home. But, Phil, give it to me straight. I'm not picking my Irish to win it. I think they'll be in the playoffs, obviously, but I don't think they're going to win it. But you give it to me straight.
Well, Coach, when you go back and take a look at last year heading into the national title game, it's too bad Notre Dame was banged up. I mean, they were missing their top defensive lineman, top offensive lineman, their running back. Jeremiah Love wasn't 100%. I would have liked to have seen Notre Dame been 100% healthy for that title game last year. This year, they are breaking in a new quarterback, but I think C.J. Carr has a tremendous supporting cast. When you've got Love and Price in the backfield, it's my number 2 set of running backs in the country. The offensive line loaded. I rated the number 3 offensive line in the country. And the receiving corps gets some additions with Will Pauling and Malachi Fields coming in. They're a top 15 unit as well. Defensively, really no questions. Each unit solid and at the top of it. I like the experience level that Notre Dame got last year. I do think their toughest 2 games are the 2 right out of the box. Miami on the road, they're a slight favorite there, and then Texas A&M at home. I think the Aggies are a team that could surprise some folks this year. And remember last year, while Notre Dame won that game 23-13, it was a tie game mid-4th quarter. They scored a touchdown, then they added a late score after a turnover. So I actually have Notre Dame favored in all 12 games this year. I think they're going to do well. The experience in the playoff helps them out. And remember, when the playoffs start, that new quarterback, C.J. Carr, will have 12 games under his belt. Won't be a first-year starter anymore.
That's a great point.
I feel that too, obviously. And, of course, you mentioned right off the top there, injuries. They're going to have to avoid the injuries, obviously the key players. But we can say that about any squad, and then people will say, well, that's why you have backups. You got to get people ready so when they come in there. But when they're such a high unit as they have, and I know you've rated their units a lot in your top 10, top 12, that they can do it. I just think that it is imperative that they can get by Miami and Texas A&M, and then don't take anybody lightly after that to get in there.
Yeah, and last year I think Coach Freeman says they didn't take them lightly, but of course they did lose to Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois actually had a really good team last year. They were better than their record. They were very physical at the line of scrimmage, senior-laden group. And, of course, they caught Notre Dame coming off that massive effort at Texas A&M. So it was a perfect scenario for Northern Illinois last year.
And speaking of massive upsets, Phil, that was right at the top of the list, or near the top of the list. If it wasn't at the top of the list, what happened with Northern Illinois knocking off Notre Dame, who went on to the national championship game? Ohio State got picked off by its rival Michigan, still won the championship game, but sleepers. We love surprise teams, dark horses. Even though they're in a big conference, Arizona State was one of them last year. People always love to point to Boise State, who plays Ed's Irish. We're hearing a lot of chatter about Toledo out of the MAC. Any one or two teams you see out there pulling off a big upset, or you would highlight, watch out for this squad because they can be much more dangerous than most are expecting?
Yeah, I'll go start with my number one surprise team in the country this year, and that's Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's coming off a 6-7 season last year. I have numerous factors here. First of all, they had a great defense. They held opponents to 87 yards per game below their season average, 6th best in the country. They have a great defense this year. 8 starters are back. R. Mason Thomas, one of the best defensive ends, leads my top-rated defensive line. All units are at the top. Now, their problem last year was offense. They had 0 returning starters on the offensive line. They lost their top 5 receivers due to injury. I earlier talked about Clemson. We saw Cade Klubnik improve from a 19-9 ratio to a 36-6 ratio with a better receiving core. Well, Oklahoma goes from a below-average receiving core that was all banged up to an above-average one. Guys like Deion Burks, an NFL prospect, back from injury. All the injured players back, plus they add in some transfers. They have a strength now at receiver. Offensive line, they now have a veteran group, Bill Benbaugh, one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. They, once again, go from a weakness to a strength. They had in a Jade Knott at running back, who was the top running back in the Pac-12 2 years ago at Cal, banged up last year. They had him to last year's top rusher, Javante Barnes, and they've got one of the better running back cores. And then you add in John Mateer, who had a great record with Washington State, dangerous runner and thrower, familiar with the offense because they bring over his offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle. They're going to be dangerous. Then you look at the schedule. Last year, they played one of the toughest schedules in the country and only had 3 SEC home games. Well, this year, they only have 3 true SEC road games. One's at Tennessee, one's at South Carolina. Both are winnable. They get Texas at a neutral site. They get Michigan at home. I've got Oklahoma going from 6-7 to a possible playoff berth this year. You touched on a team, Matthew, that I think could be very dangerous, and that is Toledo in the MAC. You know, the thing that really impressed me last year about Toledo was their game against Mississippi State. Not that they won the game, but that they actually dominated that game at the line of scrimmage. In fact, after that game, Mississippi State's coaches said, we got to get bigger and stronger. We just got pushed around by Toledo. That tells you a little something about Toledo. They were an inexperienced team last year, number 110 on my experience chart. This year, they're number 25. A much more experienced team. Watch out August 30th when they play Kentucky on the road. If they win that, they have a chance of running the table, and they'd have a win over an SEC team under their belt. They would have a shot at making the playoff this year.
It reminds me, Phil, of years ago when I told our buddy, the late, great Mercurio, Northern Illinois over Maryland in 2002 with Michael the Burner Turner. I'm going to tell my friends, Phil said, watch out for Toledo to pull the upset. I'll look smart if you nail it. So
Love Tony. He was, wasn't he awesome?
He was a blast from the past for sure. That's why I got the nickname Blast Man, part of why. But Ed wants to ask you about players that could win the Golden Award, don't you? I know you do.
Well, and know that our time is limited because, heck, we can have Steele on here, Phil on here till probably 3:00 if the schedule would allow it. But, yeah, we do. Our listeners probably want to know Heisman candidates, Phil, maybe your top 5. Look out for. Is it again going to be quarterback driven, which every year people say that's what it seems to be, quarterback period. And maybe if your top 5 are quarterback, is there any other position player maybe we can look out for?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for another position, Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State stands out. But I believe the Heisman voters really wanted to get a non-quarterback in there last year, which they did. They're probably going back to quarterbacks this year. To me, the top 5 guys, Drew Aller, Penn State. If you're leading the number 1 team in the country, you're putting up good stats. You've got a great shot at being there. DJ Lagway, 6-1 as a starter at Florida. If he's 100% healthy, look out. They're going to pull some upsets. Some guy named Arch Manning is actually the preseason favorite. I think he will have a really good year. Texas is loaded. Garrett Nussmeier threw for over 4,000 yards with LSU, has some dangerous receivers. He'll put up big stats again. But my favorite to win the Heisman this year is Cade Klubnik at Clemson. I talked about how his receiving core got upgraded last year. We saw a much different Cade Klubnik. He's got my number 2 offensive line in front of him, number 2 set of receivers. I have Clemson favored in every game. I think Clemson's going to have the most potent offense in the country. So if you're the quarterback of the most potent offense in the country, putting up big stats, and I've got Clemson favored in all 12 games, you're undefeated at the end of the year, just go ahead and just give him the Heisman Trophy. I'm going with Cade Klubnik at Clemson.
I like it. And Phil, in our final minute with you, we thank you so much for coming on the program. As always, tell the folks who had it scrolling across our ticker for much of this edition of the show, tell them what they'll get, not just in the magazine, but when they go to philsteele.com, get a part of Phil Steele Plus and Inside the Press Box. What's at their fingertips?
Yeah, I appreciate that very much, Matthew. The magazine, first of all, is 360 pages. It's like getting 136 media guides rolled into one. It's a hefty book. You can only get it, though, at Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. So get it before they sell out. Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. Save your gas money. Don't drive around. Or you can order it online at philsteele.com. Now, when you order it online, I'm going to charge you a shipping charge. It costs $10 to ship this thing. But we give you the digital magazine absolutely free. And we update that all the way through September. Now, we also have 2 other digital magazines. A lot of folks will be interested in this. 2 full pages on every FCS team. So, you got a lot of games, FBS versus FCS, or if you're just an FCS fan, 2 full pages every FCS team, digital version available now. We also have an NFL version available with 4 full pages on each NFL team. So that's all available at philsteele.com. I have a weekly newsletter, as you touched on, Matthew, Inside the Press Box. Check out the daily blogs on philsteele.com.
That's awesome about the FCS because we have a lot of fans of Hampton University and Richmond, William and Mary, and of course now Michael Vick, the head coach at Norfolk State. Join the cool kids club like Ed and me. Get your Phil Steele book. The preview is awesome and the website, great info there too at philsteele.com. Phil, thank you so much for the time. Enjoy the rest of the summer, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you again soon.
Hey, Matthew, Coach, it was always great. It's always great talking with you guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Phil.
That is the one and only Phil Steele with us here on 757 Sports Talk. We've got more coming your way. Don't touch that dial. You're watching 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back in just a bit.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here! We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
well, no, we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in a phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
What job did the frog have at the hotel? Yes, what job did the frog have at the hotel? Bellhop.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
There we go. Unmuted myself. Now I'm going to unmute you. We are back here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV and interact with us. He is the coach now of the Smithfield Packers basketball program. Ed Young, I am Matthew Hatfield. We thank Phil Steele immensely for all of his times. And we do apologize we didn't get a couple of questions in for folks. We know our man Gene Jones pulling for the Irish like you. Ed, Will wanted us to ask about Maryland. We're running out of time. And, of course, Woody is out there loving Poolman. It is a great day. It's always a great day as long as the sun is shining, Woody, for Poolman.
Woody, I've told you in the past. I'm going to keep saying it. I blame you 100%. You're the one person that likes fooling the pool, and he thinks he's got 1 million views, 1 million hits, and he keeps on doing it. Back off of that, okay? I told him we should go fooling the pool maybe like November, December would be a good time for it, and we have a little bit more time for it. Maybe February.
Well, we're going to have Karlynn Ferebee of the Norview Pilots here in a moment, but before we get to him, I understand he's getting out of his meeting and sitting down at the computer to join us, we caught up with another football coach. He used to coach at Norview. You also used to coach at Nansemond Rivers. This is like this is a day in your life, Ed Young segment, and you have a lot of respect for this guy that's now the big whistle on the football side of things, don't you?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, it's who I think it is.
It's who you think he is.
It's my guy.
He's a junior, but not a junior player. He's got last name because he had a senior. So yeah.
We had great conversation over the years at the river. Good dude, really good dude. Good insightful stuff. Does a great job with the kids. And let's hear what he had to say. You had a chance to talk to the one and only Alonzo Ricks Jr. Let's see what he has to say about my former Warriors, who I hope do well, but my new guys, we're fighting for titles.
Well,
Alonzo Ricks here on Cova Sports TV.
All right, here with Nansemond River head football coach Alonzo Ricks Jr. His team competing in the last town team camp among 11 schools here. Coach, good to be back out here. Another football season upon us. I know you're excited about this group.
Yes, sir. Very excited about this group. These young men have really been working hard since January, and so they itching at the bit. We had a good winter, good spring, and so far a pretty good summer. Thus far, and out here to get some work. So excited about it.
I know it all starts for you with your quarterback who's committed to Syracuse, Tyrell Grant Jr. Tell me about what makes him such a special young man and a talent for the next level.
Just his work ethic. But most importantly, his leadership ability. He was one of the first guys there. Actually, he was the very first guy there. Outside of the guys today, outside of me and another coach. And so that just tells you a little bit about him. He's ready. He's locked in. Going through his range of things and his progressions and just trying to get some stuff done before we left. So he's just a special talent and he's a heck of a leader.
And you have more than just a quarterback instead of the ACC, which this is no small accomplishment, or I guess you should say noteworthy part about your program. You have a number of 2- and 3-year starters, and that receiver position looks like a deep strength for you, which allows your passing to be really good potentially this year, right?
Yes, sir. My skill guys, I really think are going to be something special. They've been in the program, like you said, a number of years. And so we're just excited about the outlook and the maturity of them. But most importantly, up front, I'm going to talk about our guys up front. Our guys up front are deep. We're able to go 5-on-4 as far as the offensive line and defensive line and really get quality work. So those young men to get some of the best work they could possibly get in practice and to come out here and play against top competition that we'll play during the season. So just all in all, just trying to continue to stay healthy and continue with our depth and we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah, definitely need to have those guys keep the QB1 healthy so you got those connections with Grant to Holloway and Grant to Douglas, Grant to Gilmore, among others for you. And as you build this group, I know one of the things you talked about with me earlier was you have a couple of guys on the defense side of the ball that you bring back that had 90-plus tackles. I believe it is Colden and Freeman for you, right?
Yes, sir. Zakari, Colden, and Travis Freeman. Really excited about those guys. Feel like they're two of the best guys in the state, definitely in the region. So they have some guys up front that can play and plug, and hopefully all they can do is scrape and make tackles and fill the hole. So we'll just be excited about those guys and their leadership as well.
Sure, and a couple more lecture on here. What do you hope to get out of something like this, a team camp setting where you get to go against Churchill on night one and other quality teams here from around the 757? Then you have some preseason scrimmages with some other good teams around the 757. I think you mentioned to me like the Baysides, the Hamptons, the Kellums. What do you hope to get as you get ready for game one in the season coming up?
First and foremost, healthy. To stay healthy. That's my prayer one. Make sure we stay healthy. And then just getting quality reps and everything as we move through the summer and this team camp, get some stuff that we can document on film, go back to rehash and improve on, and then utilize that to help us continue to move forward during the season. So just all in all, just excited about, like I said, this opportunity to get out here and work out every day and beautiful weather. So I'm excited.
Lastly, and it hasn't been as humid this week, which is awesome for you too. I know how great the rivalry and the buzz is, Nansman, Kings Fork, and how people are passionate about the football in Suffolk. But your region in 5B, you got the two-time defending state champs in Maury there. Kings Fork, as I mentioned, a lot of quality schools. What's it going to take for the Warriors to be making noise come playoff time? I know being injury-free is one thing, but in addition to that, what's it going to take? Because you have a lot of pieces in place to make a run this year.
Yeah, well, thank you. But most importantly, just staying hungry each day. There's no drop-off. I feel like in the Southeast District, one of the best. Southeastern District is one of the top districts in the state, I believe. And so each week we have to continuously get better. We can't have any drop-offs. We can't, take disappointment for granted or whatever. We have to stay in one way. And I think right now we've been able to stay one way and stay motivated. And we have to continue that, and we'll go from there.
Well, go check them out. Whether they're at Arrowhead Stadium or on the road, the Warriors of Nansman River under Coach Rick should be an awful lot of fun to watch this year. Appreciate the time.
Also, appreciate you. Thank you.
So that was Alonzo Ricks Jr. of the Nansman River Warriors. Ed, as we put their schedule on the screen here before we bring in Karlynn Ferebee, the new head football coach of the Norview Pilots, to talk about them this year. You see the slate: Menchville, Grassfield, Western Branch, Deep Creek. Then they turn it to October with Great Bridge, Indian River, Hickory, Oscar Smith, Lakeland, and Kings Fork to close things up. Exciting year ahead, looks like, with that Syracuse commit at quarterback. Anytime you got an ACC quarterback, it gets the enthusiasm and the juices flowing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be some excitement over there at the river. But when you pop that schedule up, here goes Southeastern District. I know people want to look at Oscar Smith, Kings Fork, but, game at Western Branch, Deep Creek got some really good athletes. Mm-hmm. Grassfield could be a thumper to them. Of course, there's Indian River smack dab in the middle. It's going to be another battle for them. I think they have good pieces. It's always, when I was there, always the question was line play, which a lot of people say that, but they always seem to have the good hands people, good speed, defensive backfield. It's usually that line play. That line play comes through, and they got some biggies in there. They got some haulers in there. So if that works out, it could be good. And one of the other problems, being close to those guys, sometimes they would take those lighter teams a little, easy on, and I'd be like, fellas, those are the type of teams give you headaches. And you make them feel like they can beat you. You're really playing into their psyche. You just got to come in and do your job. So, but I think it's another good year for them. But when it gets into regional play, boys, some tough teams have to play.
Yeah, it's a tough region 5B when you look at Maury and Kings Fork and Nansman River and Warwick. And who else is in 5B? Well, they have a new head football coach over there in Norfolk, another school you once upon a time coached out on the basketball side of things. The first-year man at the helm is Karlynn Ferebee, who now joins us on the program. Coach, congratulations on the new gig. You as pumped up for the start of football as we all are?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, first of all, for having me. I really appreciate that. And we're very excited over here at Norview for the new start, new program. We've been going since, late January, early February, really trying to change the culture in this building.
Well, I know since I got you to come on this show, the first thing Ed wants to ask you has to do with your last name. So go ahead, Ed, before we dive into your key players. I know that's something we just had on someone with the same last name.
Coach, first of all, congrats. One of my old stomping grounds, Norview. Loved it, absolutely loved it.
Thank you very much.
Still got a lot of feelings. I'm wearing blue again. I just tell them, Matt, I'm wearing blue for the first time since I coached at Norview. I just got the job at Smithfield High School for basketball. But I had to ask when I saw Ferebee, are you related to Glenwood Ferebee?
Yes, we are distant cousins down the line. Our kind of like our grandfathers are like brothers, so we are all related. And you mentioned Smithfield. Coach Kermit Buggs over there at Smithfield is actually my first cousin. So I do have a lot of family around this area coaching, and I've been coaching in this area for 15 years.
And when the scrimmage last night was against none other than the Smithfield Packers for you guys, which was not planned. It's just so ironic how this all happened. But
that's great because Coach Tracy Parker, the head coach at Smithfield, who you faced last night, was my office mate at Nansman River for like 6 years, and he had to get out of there. And he said the best thing of leaving Nansman River was leaving me behind. And now guess who his office mate is again?
Right
he
back
tried for 2 days. Yep.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and we had a good time with the scrimmage. It was very organized. Everybody was on the same page. We got a lot of work done on both sides, and I thought it was very competitive.
Perfect. Well, let's do this. This is our first time coming on the show, and I know
Yes,
this is
sir.
going to interest Ed in our audience. Tell us about your coaching background, because while you're new as a first-year head coach, you've been coaching around the Eastern District football scene for a little while, haven't you?
Yes, sir. I've been in the Eastern District for above 15 years now. I started at Norview. Well, actually, I started as a middle school head coach, and then I moved on to Norview, JV, worked my way up to varsity under Coach Cotton. And then from there, I went to Churchland with one of my college teammates in Dontrell Leonard. And then after that, I was at Granby. And then this is my first year here. And at Churchland and Granby, I was involved in defense. I've always been a DB coach, and then later on became a defensive coordinator before I was a head coach.
So
and
when the
special
job,
teams as well.
What was that last thing you said?
Special teams as well. Yeah.
Special teams, okay. So when the job comes open, I know there's been a little bit of some transition the last couple of years there at Norview. How much was it about right timing and just the community, the kids? How much did it feel like this was the right thing for you?
I think it was the right timing because I do work in the building. I am an architecture and engineering-based teacher. So I do know the kids and I understand the kids. And I think the timing was absolutely perfect when they needed, I don't want to say necessarily myself, but this particular coaching staff that genuinely cares about them. As you see behind, we're trying to bring all the greatness back to Norview that it once was. It's been a down period, and we want to show them the greatness that Norview once was and get back to that culture. That's the overall goal. And it starts with the classroom. All spring, all our focus was academics, attendance, and behavior. And all we do is instill discipline, structure, and accountability into our kids each and every day.
We're chatting with the first-year head football coach of the Norview Pilots, Karlynn Ferebee. His team will open things up on August 28th at the Great Bridge Wildcats. As you see it, they have Denby, Woodside to follow before the Eastern District slate begins with Granby, Manor, Churchland, Maury, Booker T, Norcom, and Lake Taylor to close things out in November on their quest to make the postseason. It is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Ed?
Coach, before we are looking at that schedule, and you got some toughies up top. You're at Great Bridge on that first one, tough place to play. Then you got Denby, a great quarterback with Parker, and then of course Woodside. So you didn't really look for any cupcakes, I would say.
Oh no, sir. I try my best not to do that. I mean, well, this schedule was set a little bit before I got the job, but I was okay with it. But as far as scrimmages as well, we try to schedule everything as hard as we can. So that we can be prepared for the season no matter what it brings.
Well, now, Coach, I've got to ask you, your first chance to be head coach on the high school level.
Yes, sir.
So things I like to ask coaches that in that situation for them, what's a couple things that once they said, we want you, you're our guy, what were some things you said, okay, this is paramount. I got to do this thing now, this thing, 2-3 things right off top of the bat that you had to take care of.
The number one thing is I wanted to take care of Norview. What I mean by that is try to keep my kids here in this building. Norview is a very big community school. We have a lot of students, and all of our students live right here in the community. And I wanted to make sure that we keep these kids here. They had a lot of negative experiences. Some of them had the mindset that they might want to go somewhere else. And then when I got the job, the number one thing I wanted to do was just keep these guys in the building. I have 18 seniors that I was able to retain, and they are a very strong group of guys. And then from there, it was all about academics and changing the culture and the mindset. Because we have the athletes. We have athletes for days here at Norview, but it's about changing the mentality. It's not just to be physically tough, but you have to be mentally tough as well. And that is the number one thing that we preach right now.
And with those 18 seniors, tell us some of those key 12th graders will be counting on, and also some players that might be underclassmen. They're going to matter for you, be it on the offensive side, defensively for you this coming year.
Yes, sir. Of the 18 seniors, we have Jameer Vaughn, who's our returning quarterback. And we also have a junior, Jamel Howard, who's been giving him some great competition at quarterback. And he also plays defense as well. Jamel plays everywhere. Tight end, receiver, outside back. He plays a little bit of everything. Senior leadership, though, so we have Jameer Vaughn, Zyquez Williams. We have the twins, Trenton and Trayvon Stevenson-Freeman, as well as we have a couple newcomers. We have some newcomers from the basketball team. Coach Foster has a great basketball program here, and that was another one of the things I did in keeping Norview kids. I wanted to get guys from other sports to come on out and play with us as well. And we have 3 very key guys that came from the basketball team. And Hayden Luther is a senior, Xavier Bynum is a senior, and Amari Martin is a junior. So those are a lot of key guys on the offensive line, senior led by Breon. We have Israel Barrett and Kasim Kirby. All right. So yes, we have a lot of seniors. They're all over the place, and they're very receptive because we coach hard, bringing in a lot of things that they're not used to, and they're very receptive. No matter how hard we are on them, good days, bad days, they return and they want more. So I love it. They're very competitive, and they just want success. They had these senior class had 3 years that was just miserable for them, on and off the field. So we're just trying to give them a better experience all around.
Well, as you know, getting a team to have a turnaround, it can be helped and accelerated when you have a good senior crop and the leadership is there.
Yes, sir. Because like I said, the seniors. I also didn't mention Daryl Jefferson. We have a stable of running backs. We have a lot of guys, and then we have a good group of juniors as well, led by Xavier McCoy at linebacker. We just have a great group of guys that are dedicated, and they know that what our numbers is and what our numbers is, and we just go forward from there. We don't deal with what we can't control. We handle what we can control. And that's the mindset I try to get them, pushing through adversity and just coming together as a team. And like you said, those seniors really lead the way vocally and just mentally as well. And I expect them to do the same thing when we start school on Monday.
They're starting school early in late August now. A couple more minutes here with Karlynn Ferebee, the head football coach in his first year at the helm of the Norview Pilots. Their opener August 28th at the Great Bridge Wildcats. Our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Ed?
Coach, what about staff? If you can give us a rundown, especially your coordinators, who's coming on board with you?
Okay, my defensive coordinator, his name is Everett Garrison. We've been coaching together for years. He's a Norview native. Offensive coordinator is one of my former players, someone that I watched grow up. And some of y'all know when he played, Anton Ashby Jr. And after he left Norview, he went to play at Norfolk State. We also have Creighton Incremenius with the offensive line, and he's my assistant head coach that really helped me out as an experienced coach. Kelvin McCoy on the defensive line. And we have a lot of younger guys this is like their, second and third year coaching that has come with us from Granby. Dyrri Colston, Julius Franks, and Jermaine Clark. I want to shout them out because they do an excellent job helping with varsity, but they also coach JV as well. And I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anybody.
Yeah, and I love you getting.
I am forgetting Elmon Christensen. I am forgetting our running backs coach. I am forgetting.
There you go. You get them all some love, and I love the fact you brought in Coach Inco. Incormenius,
Yes,
you brought up him. He was obviously at Granby most recently as an assistant, but before that, he was a head coach at Grafton and Bethel. You got a nice blend of old and young, kind of that which I think is going to help with the kids. And I know Ed now taking over a basketball job. It's in his brain. I got to have that mix of old and young. It kind of keeps everybody fresh, right?
Yes, and it actually went hand in hand because, like I mentioned, since you were talking about Smithfield, my uncle Joe Buggs is a Smithfield legend. He has been in Creighton Incremenius his entire life. Our families have been close forever. So it's just perfect that it all comes fold, that he gets to join my staff as well and be something like a mentor for me and guide me along the way as a first-year head coach.
That is so cool. So cool, Ed.
I love it.
Coach, I would ask you, but I got a feeling you football coaches played so close to the vest. Me in basketball, I'll tell you anything you want to know because I don't even know what we're doing at that time. Other than have more points than your opponents, anything we can look for that you can't divulge too many secrets, offensively, defensively, that you like to do?
Really, it's not really a secret when people look at myself and Coach G. As long as we've coached together, Coach G is Coach Garrison, by the way. As long as we've coached together, we've always had a very dominant defense. Whether it be at Norview, Granby, and even when I was helping out at Churchland, because Churchland does have a good defense as well. Big shout out to Coach Ferguson and Coach Leonard over there. But everywhere we've been, we've had a pretty dominant defense, and you should be looking for a very high pace, high tempo offense with a lot of athletes that we're going to try to put in a lot of different positions. We don't have guys in just one set position. We have a lot of athletes and we want to use it.
I love it. Well, hey, Coach, thank you so much for coming on today. We're looking forward to watching the Pilots soar to new heights under your leadership, and it should be an awful lot of fun for you here in 2025 with this group, senior laden, but also some newcomers and some fresh faces trying to complement them well. Best to you, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate y'all having me up here. Looking forward to seeing you guys again.
You bet.
Good luck to you, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
3rd or 4th and inches, halfback option. They'll never see it coming.
They'll never see it coming. You sound like my uncle. I know y'all. That's how I know y'all work together. You sound like my uncle.
Listen, that's the guy he is. He was telling Stack at Cox for years, go throw the bomb on 4th and inches. He'll tell you.
He did it. He did it one time. They won the game. I didn't want to
intercept another time. We didn't tell him about that. So,
all right. Well, one for you. Make sure you trap him at half court.
Oh,
we're gonna try to trap in the locker room if I can get away with it. I got a 6-man rotation, a 6-man play that if I can get away with it, the trap's going to look good.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, man.
You
have a great day.
You got it. Karlynn Ferebee, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. We're going to take another timeout. We got more coming your way here to close up the show, including our conversation with Jeremy Blunt of the Phoebus Phantoms and Jason Harrell of the Manchester Lancers. You see, Woodrow Wagner says, sail with the Pilots. You're watching 757 Sports Talk, and it's on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
All right, I'm here with Manchester head football coach Jason Harrell. His Lancers competing in a tri-scrimmage with the reigning 4-time state champion Phoebus Phantoms and the Kingsford Bulldogs. Coach, always nice to get a scrimmage against top 10 teams of the state. I know you guys feel you're right in that conversation this year and have to be pleased to not only compete well, but pretty much come out of here injury-free, which is always the main goal, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the main goal of this one, again, because, we played 2 tough teams. Everybody pushes a little bit more. The good thing, again, I said we competed well against both teams, and I thought we kind of did well with, playing with what we had today.
We saw you win the Old Dominion 7-on-7 passing tournament back in June, which we'll hit on in a second. But from scrimmage 1 with Stafford to tonight, where do you think you've made the most progress, and what's kind of your assessment as you get ready for now game 1?
I think we actually still got a few things to work on. One thing is, we want to work on is our pace for one. So again, that kind of slowed down with the heat. So it was one thing that we had to notice that we had to get better at on offense. Far as like our overall kind of like the chemistry, working through some of the things with different. It was kind of easy to see. How the way teams play, the 2 teams play is kind of a little bit different. They look the same, but it's playing a little bit different. So, you have time to game plan for that when, we have film and things like that. So it was kind of just calling plays on the fly right there. Something that we can, like I said, in the heat of the moment, that's a good situation for me.
Sure.
But like I said, we'll have time to game plan and see what we want.
Well, I mentioned winning that 7-on-7, you have the skill pieces in place,
Correct.
obviously with Landon Abernathy and a bunch of different guys that are committed to colleges already or getting interest for colleges at the next level. I know Landon Hicks, one of those guys, it's a junior. Tell me about just what you're seeing in the trenches, because it felt like as the scrimmages went on, your defensive front and pass rush started to get more pressure on the opposing quarterbacks, and you did some nice things on that end.
Yeah, correct. So again, it was led by like Camden Chalkley, and then we have another young guy, Antoine Page, that came in and made a nice play at the end of the game. So again, I'm really excited to see what those guys can do, because again, we can put Cam anywhere on the line.
Yeah.
So I mean, we just got to kind of find the right order and pieces to put around him to make us kind of dominant.
When you have a 4-year starting quarterback like Abernathy, is it just like having an extension of a coach on the field, just kind of his smarts and being the grasp of the system? How much does that just put you all at ease that he knows he's kind of seen pretty much everything and the bullets flying, if you will?
Yeah, I love talking to him. Like, so when we come to the sideline, he gives me his assessment of, what he sees out there. That makes it easier for me to call plays. So, again, it's a wonderful thing because, we actually had an issue trying to get our huddle set up, so we couldn't see anyway. So we were definitely relying on him, and, he was right with a lot of the calls. So we, was able to pick up and move in the second half, the second quarter we played.
Last two, what do you think is unique about this Manchester Lancers football team? I think every team tries to forge that identity. What do you think it is for your group? And have you figured out what that out is yet? Have you figured that out yet, what it is with this group?
I think we kind of went back to the old school of just family. This team is kind of more tight-knit than, we had some in the past. They all, basically kind of hang out together and do things together. And we did all Midnight Madness kind of lock in. And so the guys are kind of pulling for each other more than, I know everybody wants, the stars and limelight and want to be the guy, but they actually are kind of like rooting for each other.
Well, that cohesiveness matters. Big deal for you as you go into a new situation this year with this group, and you look at the region. Obviously 6A's got a defending champion Oscar Smith in it, but you have some new faces like an L.C. Burke coming up from Class 5, Thomas Dale. What's it going to take for this team to meet some of the goals? Because it feels like you're building towards some really good things in front of you for this year.
Yeah, so hopefully, like I said, we get our pieces behind those guys ready to play. Our JV played earlier, and I saw a lot of great things out of those young kids. And we have a big group to choose from. And like I said, I was kind of excited to watch them play because there's a lot of guys that made plays there. So again, those guys and the guys that we have that are, our twos and tweeners, make sure that they're ready to play when they have to.
Well, he's got some 757 roots, but he brought the 804 to the 757 tonight in Suffolk. Coach Harrell, thank you so much. All the best to you and the Lancers.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, bud.
Appreciate it.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
So you heard from Jason Harrell there moments ago of the Manchester Lancers. Ed, they look to be a thorn in a lot of people's side in Class 6. They are going to be in the Class 6 top 10. Where are they checking out? You'll have to find out on VirginiaPreps.com in the coming days as that countdown continues on. But Coach Harrell was an assistant for a while at Salem in Virginia Beach. He's got roots in the 757. They won the ODU 7-on-7 passing tournament, and you heard Landon Abernathy while we were up at St. James talk about his recruitment. He still hasn't made a college choice, but Jaden Ballard has already committed to Buffalo for them, defensive back, and Antonio Turner has committed to play at Hampton in the 757. So they're going to be a factor, it looks like, in Region 6A with Oscar Smith, the defending state champs, and others. And could be a team that even makes a run at the state playoffs this year if they can get through Oscar Smith in that bracket, which also features Dale and Bird.
I was trying to, as he was speaking, look at the schedule. Can you flash that back through there? I wanted to see.
Back up there for you. So you got Monacan, I think that's a win. Glen Allen, which Malik Sexton, former Churchland quarterback coach, and that's going to be a tricky game. James River, Clover Hill. Then you get to end September with Cosby. October, you open up with Midlothian. Then you have LC Bird. That's the word, but they've been beating them lately, and Bird lost a lot of seniors. Powhatan 2 weeks later. They got a really good wide receiver, does Powhatan, that people have to watch out for in one. Ben Whitver, who's committed to JMU. Richmond High School, that used to be George Wythe, by the way, of Richmond. And Huguenot, end of the year, is going to be a tough game. But I think at the worst, this is me speaking, it's an 8-2 football team. But a couple of breaks, they give me 9-1 or 10-0.
I was thinking like you, I had 7-3, but I don't know.
I would say that's you're being low on that. I think they're going to win a minimum of 8 games, possibly 10. You could be safe and split the baby and say 9-1.
So they'll be right there in the mix again. Yes. It's a great program, And hats off to Coach Harrell. It's a great scrimmage. Kings Fork, Phoebus. I mean, that's a lot of players on that field. A lot of high level players in that. So that's a cool thing to do when you have that kind of a team. And I've always said that. When you got that upper echelon team, you got to match yourself up with those type of people because you're going to be going through the year with that. But that schedule is going to be tough. There's some tricks in there where they could get tripped up if they think they got a breather. Maybe sometimes kids coming off a tough game, they think the next game will be easier. They start reading all that stuff, and then boom, here we go. I think that's what I'm looking at. But again, I don't know the teams as well as you do. And again, Bird, Huguenot right there towards the end of the year. They got some great tests on there.
Well, speaking of Phoebus, they're on a pursuit of history as they're closing in on the most consecutive wins in VHSL history, a record they share with Riverheads High School. And this 2025 edition has a chance to grab it by themselves if they get off to about like a 4-0, 5-0 start, Ed. And we caught up with the head man.
Yeah, we're going to hear Jeremy Blau just done an unbelievable job there. People take it for granted. It's automatic, but it's work. He puts it in. They scrimmage the tough people. He's got a good schedule too. Let's hear what he had to say when he talked to you right here on Cova Sports TV.
Let's go. All right, I'm here with Phoebus head football coach Jeremy Blount after their scrimmage preseason-wise here with the Kingsport Bulldogs Manchester Lancers. We got through the top 10 teams in the state and coming off a 4-peat coach. It's amazing. You were a champion player at Phoebus, champion assistant coach. You come into Phoebus head coach. People are saying, my goodness, we got to win that championship again. Now you've won 4 in a row. Tell me about just the excitement for another drive for 5 now, if you will.
Well, you know what, man? It's been a cool experience so far early in camp with these guys, man. You get a group of guys that have been a part of this process. Some of them have been waiting by the wind just for their moment. They've been giving us the work on scout team or rotator guys, so it's exciting to see. I looked at them today, man, and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing a little bit of that buzz and passion. We always, I know every coach in the state and around the country feels the same way. You worry about complacency no matter what. And sometimes you can become a victim of your own success. So that's been a real big focus of ours this camp, man. And early in camp, I think, today it showed me that, okay, we didn't come out here and really overlook, but I did kind of see us not take the full step and put the foot on the pedal right now, which same as last year, we've been doing this past few years. So, as coaches, we just got to keep the foot on them, man.
Well, is that what gets you so juiced up? Because we're watching you on the sideline. You're going from the 30 to the 30 here, and you've had the groups of champions, if you will, guys that are playing college ball all over the place, whether it be Power 5, Division 1, Division 3. And then you got guys that were just with you not too long ago helping out, like Damian Charity on the sideline. And you got a quarterback who is poised as can be, junior, leading the squad really nicely, Maricus Banks, committed already to Old Dominion. Tell me about what he's doing in terms of leadership and on the field, off the field.
Well, that's been his jump this offseason, and we're seeing it right now since camp has started. We put a lot of pressure on him to be that guy, to be the guy that's in front of his teammates, to be the guy that's making sure he's not just managing an offense anymore. He is commanding an offense, and that's what we expect from him at this point. We expect him to take the lead. And the guys really believe and buy into that. So you can see it taking place on the field, today, even though we only had a few snaps, you can see it taking place. And, it's just a step-by-step process that we're excited about.
And slowly and surely, quietly showing some wheels, too, when he gets out in the pocket. He's got that, I think, element to his game. Up front, that's always where the football games are won. You know that, and you graduated such a valuable guy in Marcus Hobson. But we saw last year one of those key guys who's playing, multiple roles, offense, defense. Troy Salamano, one of those key guys for your back up front. Tell me about what you're seeing offensive line, defensive line. Still some work to be done there, though, too, right?
Right. We had a few guys out today, so it was really good to see how our rotations were going to look with those guys out, some key guys out. So, Troy is one of those guys that's been starting since his freshman year. So we expect a whole lot out of Troy, between his leadership, his playmaking ability, his poise and his confidence when moments are adverse, So I can see that with him right now. And you see Cameron Tillery as well, that's taking on that leadership role as well, taking after big brother Caleb. And we're loving what those two guys are doing.
Another guy who's also kind of a Swiss Army knife type for you. You've had a few of these over the years. Obviously, Jordan Bass was a big-time playmaker for you, but the Grays come to mind, Kamani Keontae, is Tyree Diggs. It feels like you can use him in a lot of different ways, and he's got that big playability, right?
Oh, he does. He's a kid that was capable last year. He played whatever role he was asked to play, made some beautiful plays in some critical moments last year. I'm looking at him right now and how dynamic he is and how poised he is with the ball in his hands, man. I mean, he's very patient with his vision, and he accelerates extremely well. So he's a guy that will do some things in and out of the backfield, and we're excited about that.
Two more for let you run. There's so much talk about the streak. How do you, I've brought this up to other championship level coaches, throw it to you. How do you kind of block out the distractions and noise and keep the focus on the old team me, if you will, at Phoebus? Because you guys have been doing it, and it seems like it's easy. I know it's not.
Well, it's not. I mean, you hear the chatter. Everybody has their own assumption of what you are doing, and are you protecting it? Are you pushing through it, or are you paying attention to it, or is it just another day? I mean, there's nothing normal about being in that situation. Let's just be honest, So what we don't do is we don't keep it a secret. We do talk about it with the guys, but the conversations are focused on goals. And I've been saying this for years. We have a plan, and I'm going to focus and stick to our plan. Our plan changes based off of the group that we're working with, but the plan is it's a system. It's a system. We don't focus on, the individual things. We focus on the big picture things, and the big picture things keep us focused. So we don't keep it a secret. We talk about it. It is one of the goals, but we also understand that the only way to do it, you got to continue to work this process that we have in place.
And you guys all right, I'm here with Phoebus head football coach Jeremy Blunt after their scrimmage preseason-wise here with the Kingsford Bulldogs Manchester Lancers. We got through the top 10 teams in the state, and coming off a four-peat coach, it's amazing. You were a champion player at Phoebus, champion assistant coach. You come into Phoebus head coach. People are saying, my goodness, we got to win that championship again. Now you've won 4 in a row. Tell me about just the excitement for another drive for 5 now, if you will.
Well, you know what, man? It's been a cool experience so far early in camp with these guys, man. You get a group of guys that have been a part of this process. Some of them have been waiting by the wind just for their moment. They've been giving us the work on scout team or rotator guys, so it's exciting to see. I looked at them today, man, and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing a little bit of that buzz and passion. We always, I know every coach in the state and around the country feels the same way. You worry about complacency no matter what. And sometimes you can become a victim of your own success. So that's been a real big focus of ours this camp, man. And early in camp, I think, today it showed me that, okay, we didn't come out here and really overlook, but I did kind of see us not take the full step and put the foot on the pedal right now, which same as last year, we've been doing this past few years. So, as coaches, we just got to keep the foot on them, man.
Well, is that what gets you so juiced up? Because we're watching you on the sideline. You're going from the 30 to the 30 here, and you've had the groups of champions, if you will, guys that are playing college ball all over the place, whether it be Power 5, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. And then you got guys that were just with you not too long ago helping you out, like Damian Charity on the sideline. And you got a quarterback who is poised as can be, junior, leading the squad really nicely, Maricus Banks, committed already to Old Dominion. Tell me about what he's doing in terms of leadership and on the field, off the field.
Well, that's been his jump this offseason, and we're seeing it right now since camp has started. We put a lot of pressure on him to be that guy, to be the guy that's in front of his teammates, to be the guy that's making sure he's not just managing an offense anymore. He is commanding an offense, and that's what we expect from him at this point. We expect him to take the lead. And the guys really believe and buy into that. So you can see it taking place on the field, today, even though we only had a few snaps, you can see it taking place. And, it's just a step-by-step process that we're excited about.
And slowly and surely, quietly showing some wheels, too, when he gets out in the pocket. He's got that, I think, element to his game. Up front, that's always where the football games are won. You know that, and you graduated such a valuable guy in Marcus Hobson. But we saw last year one of those key guys who's playing, multiple roles, offense, defense. Troy Salamano, one of those key guys for your back up front. Tell me about what you're seeing offensive line, defensive line. Still some work to be done there, though, too, right?
Right. We had a few guys out today, so it was really good to see how our rotations were going to look with those guys out, some key guys out. So, Troy is one of those guys that's been starting since his freshman year. So we expect a whole lot out of Troy, between his leadership, his playmaking ability, his poise and his confidence when moments are adverse, So I can see that with him right now. And you see Cameron Tillery as well, that's taking on that leadership role as well, taking after big brother Caleb. And we're loving what those two guys are doing.
Another guy who's also kind of a Swiss Army knife type for you. You've had a few of these over the years. Obviously, Jordan Bass was a big-time playmaker for you, but the Grays come to mind, Kamani Keontae, is Tyree Diggs. It feels like you can use him in a lot of different ways, and he's got that big playability, right?
Oh, he does. He's a kid that was capable last year. He played whatever role he was asked to play, made some beautiful plays in some critical moments last year. I'm looking at him right now and how dynamic he is and how poised he is with the ball in his hands, man. I mean, he's very patient with his vision, and he accelerates extremely well. So he's a guy that will do some things in and out of the backfield, and we're excited about that.
Two more for let you run. There's so much talk about the streak. How do you, I've brought this up to other championship level coaches, throw it to you. How do you kind of block out the distractions and noise and keep the focus on the old team me, if you will, at Phoebus? Because you guys have been doing it, and it seems like it's easy. I know it's not.
Well, it's not. I mean, you hear the chatter. Everybody has their own assumption of what you are doing, and are you protecting it? Are you pushing through it, or are you paying attention to it, or is it just another day? I mean, there's nothing normal about being in that situation. Let's just be honest, So what we don't do is we don't keep it a secret. We do talk about it with the guys, but the talks are focused on, the conversations are focused on goals. And I've been saying this for years. We have a plan, and I'm going to focus and stick to our plan. Our plan changes based off of the group that we're working with, but the plan is it's a system. It's a system. We don't focus on the individual things. We focus on the big picture things, and the big picture things keep us focused. So we don't keep it a secret. We talk about it. It is one of the goals, but we also understand that the only way to do it, you got to continue to work this process that we have in place.
And you guys always see a lot of quality teams. You got Highland Springs on the docket again this year in your district, obviously the Hamptons, the Warwicks, and so on and so forth. And lastly there, you get these scrimmages with Kings Fork and Manchester. I think you got Trinity Episcopal coming. What do you get out of these different gauges, and what are the questions you and your staff are having and posing to the kids as you get ready for game one in this Drive for Five?
Well, I'll tell you, man, this was some good work today. Two really good teams, well-coached teams, both physical. They do what they do in their districts as well. So we're excited to come over here. We appreciate them for even allowing us into it. This was something that they had planned, and they invited us into it. So we really appreciated it, man. But, it's just a part of this process, Put something on film. We had some guys out. Okay, with the guys we had in, let's see how deep we can be in certain areas. So, we get back to the film session this weekend, man, take a look at some things that we did well, take a look at some things that we struggled with, focus on some conditioning and just get back to work, man. And that's the exciting part as coaches, man, just working that process and just grinding through the work.
Beat goes on for the Phantoms of PHS on Ireland Street. Thank you so much. All the best.
Oh, man, thanks. Appreciate it.
So that was Jeremy Blunt of the Phoebus Phantoms. Your thoughts, Ed, on what he had to say there? And it should be another wild ride for the Phantoms as they try to chase more history, which they've been getting a lot of in recent years, going back to the late, great Bill D, then Stan Sexton, and now under Coach Blunt.
It's interesting. He's looking at a little different perspective. They've been so successful, 4 straight state championships. Most coaches are just praying to get one in their career. He's had 4 straight. It's a little different thinking there. Keep the kids grounded, taking care of complacency, taking care of the noise, the people, the accusations of recruiting and this and that and that and this. Different thinking and keeping focused. Mm-hmm. Now, you pull up the schedule.
Yep.
And I don't see. Oh, okay. There, I was going to say I didn't see Highland Springs. So they're playing Highland Springs actually after the season gets started instead of early.
It's game number 4 for them. Correct.
Yeah, that's different. That's different. But again, in terms of how it fits, and they're what looks like they're the latest starting team. September 12th. A lot of people start in August. They're starting.
Yeah, they don't have 2 early games there, so that's what it looks like for them. And I'll be honest with you, I think they're going to be all right. The quarterback Maricus Banks is going to ODU, which we touched on. He's showing some ability with his feet. They have some holes to fill, but once they get to October and into November, I think a lot of those players that are a little bit green will be more seasoned, and the depth will be better by then. I think that right now that's a little bit of a question mark and concern. But as they push this thing along, they do a good job of getting their kids tougher, more aggressive, and ready for the grind.
Yeah, I do too. I think the late start could be a bonus for them in terms of getting those guys that might be banged up from the camp work to come.
Their toughest games are all connected to each other with Warwick, Highland Springs, Bethel, Hampton. That's not an easy little quartet in a row there.
Yeah, that. I looked at that too. I thought that's where it's going to be a little tough for them now. Mm-hmm. The good thing is 3 of them are at home. That's a big help. Of course, when they're playing Bethel and Hampton, they're both home. So
right.
It's I think they got a great shot at getting number 5.
They do. I think their class is not easy though. Verina, mighty good. Huguenot, Dinwiddie. We mentioned Salem earlier. Jefferson Forest. There's a lot of teams that are going to be, potential obstacles and roadblocks for them. However, like we've said the last couple of years, do you ever feel good about picking against Phoebus or doubting them of doing it? I don't.
Yeah, I can't sit there, look at the schedule and say, oh, that's probably a loss right there. Until they lose and maybe lose a few, I can't go against them. Their program is just too strong. They've done a great job. Coach has done a great job keeping them up there. And like he says, speaking as a coach myself, he really got to guard against complacency as he talks about those goals. They probably have them every day, many goals every day to hit just to keep those kids focused. And then you've got those kids right behind them, subs that, figure, hey, I could be starting elsewhere. I need to play more. It can be an issue when you have teams like we said about more, when you have teams that talented, the thinking in terms of how you're coaching them changes a little bit. You still got to put a product out there. And he did mention about, we got a program, we got a system. Now, again, there's a difference between a good team and a good program, big difference. So the coaches found the way to do it, and I just feel they can do it.
That's going to conclude this episode of 757 Sports Talk. We thank you all for tuning in and all of our guests. It was a gaggle of guests, right? Something like that. Can you say that? Gaggle of guests?
Well, yeah, that and a lot.
It's been out of this world, and we thank you all for tuning in with the new basketball coach of the Smithfield Packers. I, of course, am Matt Hatfield. He's got the logo. And I said, it's out of this world, Ed. We end this show with a dip in the water.
How do you throw a party in outer space? Well, you gotta plan it.